Hello and welcome into another edition of Grey Wolves Baseball here at Osland Field between the Gresham Grey Wolves and the Corvallis Knights. The first game of a three-game series coming your way here on Grey Wolves Live. I'm Evan Giddings on the campus of Mount Hood Community College, the home of the Saints, where the Grey Wolves are just about set to take the field here against the Corvallis Knights. Now entering play, your Gresham Grey Wolves are 7-2 to begin this second half of the Southern Division here in the West Coast League. The Corvallis Knights, who were victorious in the first half of the South Division West Coast League play, are at 4-5 coming into this contest. Now, after a bit of a break here in the last week, an all-star break, if you will, the Grey Wolves are back home this week for the first series after the all-star break and will be taking on the Knights for the very first time this season. These three games against the Corvallis Knights will start a stretch of 18 contests in 19 days to finish the regular season for Gresham, to which they are of... look like we have a bit of a stallage here down on the field, but nonetheless, the Grey Wolves are very familiar with a lot of ball games being played in a short amount of time. In fact, had 30 games played in their last 33 days prior to the All-Star break, of course, ending with that international competition between them and the Australian national junior team, if you will, the Heat from Perth Heat. And so the Grey Wolves have taken the field here. Aaron Schaup on the bump, the left-handed starter for the Grey Wolves, as the Corvallis Knights also about set to go. And during these warm-up pitches here, we'll get you starting lineups. So leading it off for Corvallis, playing center field, number 12, Kyle Nobach. And he was, in fact, the MVP of the All-Star game that took place yesterday up in Longview, Washington. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into this broadcast. Batting second and playing right field, number 38, Emilio Alcantar. Batting third and playing shortstop, number 11, Andy Atwood. Batting fourth and playing third base, number 21, Michael Farnes. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 15, Zach Taylor. Batting sixth and DHing this evening, it'll be number 10, Roman Garcia. Batting seventh and doing the catching, number 20, Nick Kale. Batting eighth and playing left field, number 16, Cody Hawken. And batting ninth and playing second base, number 7, Scott Ogren. On the bump this evening for Corvallis, it'll be number 19, Grant Goodman. And we'll get our first look at him. In fact, the first look at the Knights here in the very first game this season so far between the Gresham Grey Wolves and the Corvallis Knights. Of course, the Corvallis Knights playing down on the campus of OSU in Beaver territory, I should say. So they're coming up all the way from down there about a 2-hour drive, especially with the heavy traffic this evening. Nonetheless, a pleasure to have them. And the Grey Wolves will get a bit of a test here to begin essentially the second half of the All-Star break. So after they played 9 games, ended up going 7-2 to begin this second half. 6 of those games on the road, and they finished out with a 3-game series against the Victoria Harbor Cats, who at the time were the toughest opponents they've faced. And that's what I expect to see here tonight, some great competition as Aaron Schaup finished with his warm-up pitches. Nobach has stepped into the box, and we're just about set to go here for first pitch. So now Nobach will officially step into the box. Had to pause for a moment as Schaup has his sign. Now we're ready for baseball. First pitch on the way is a fastball low and outside, ball 1. So Schaup, attending St. Martin's University, enters the week with a 1-2 record, 16 strikeouts. His last start came on July 10th back at Wenatchee's. This one is popped back out of play, foul, 1-1. And while credited with just 1 win on the season, the Southpaws appeared in 2 additional WCL games and 1 non-league contest where the Grey Wolves emerged victorious, but Schaup was not the pitcher of record. So officially just a 1-2 record, although has pitched much better than his record has shown. 1-1 on the way. Fastball outside there. 2 balls and a strike here to Nobach. Now the leadoff hitter is really going to be the spark plug of this offense for the Corvallis Knights. I mentioned a little bit about his MVP honors that he garnered in the All-Star game as the 2-1 now swung on and missed. Good pitch there, a changeup on the outside corner to even up the count. But nonetheless, Nobach 3 for 4 in that game, 2 doubles, 3 runs scored, an RBI as well, and even a defensive assist. And the Grey Wolves have a young and athletic, great center fielder themselves. This one is swung on in the dirt, gets behind Clanky and past the home plate umpire. He can't find it. That'll allow Nobach to get to first base on the drop third strike. So An interesting result there to begin this ball game here. A strikeout, and he will reach first base. So Nobach, Aaron Schaub going to be credited with the strikeout. That's number 17 on the season, but Nobach will reach first base on the pass ball. So Schaub, 38 and 2/3 innings so far this season. 6 games started, a 3.25 ERA. Mentioned 16 now, 17 strikeouts, also 14 walks, 34 hits allowed. As now the batter shows bunt. Fastball way outside there, corralled by Klenke, and it's ball 1. Emilio Alcantara, the right fielder this evening for the Knights, will step to the plate. So far this season, only batting .217. 106 at-bats, however. That leads the ball club, making his 29th appearance, and will lace this one down the first base line, but foul and out of play. So 1-1 here to Alcantara. In addition, also 11 runs scored, a couple of doubles, 12 RBIs, and a total of 19 strikeouts and just 4 walks. So a guy that really likes to put the ball in play. Not going to take a lot of free bases, as this pickoff attempt over to first base not in time. Defensively for the Gray Wolves, it'll be Mark Cardinale in left, Ryan Smith in center, Jeff Mitchell Jr. in right field. As Schaub now comes set, kicks a fires, curveball bunted over the left side. Connor Zickafoose has it, throw on the run in time for the first out of the ball game, but the runners does advance to second base, so the sacrifice is successful. Nonetheless, Alcantara, the first out of the ball game. And so, like I was mentioning, defensively on the infield, Connor Zickafoose over at the hot corner at third base, Dylan Doherty and Curtis Perrin up the middle. Will Matheson making one of his first starts at first base this evening for the Gray Wolves. Kind of going to be that replacement over there for Ryan Rodriguez, in addition to a couple of other Gray Wolves that were subtracted from the roster over the All-Star break. We'll get those updates for you in just a moment. Behind the plate, it'll be Ben Klenke, and, of course, on the bump, Aaron Schaub, as now Andy Atwood will step to the plate and take a first pitch breaking ball in for strike 1. So in addition to Rodriguez, I believe really the only position player that the Gray Wolves lost is Rodriguez has to head back over to Utah to Dixie State University, where he attends college, plays baseball there, obviously, and is going to be attending summer school there, as now this fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike 2 from Schaub. Quickly down in the hole is Atwood. So in addition to Rodriguez, a couple of pitchers have sort of lingered off, primarily due to pitch counts as well as being shut down for their college seasons. Last week, David Wallum, the 6'7" right-hander, who will be attending Washington State University. This one, a ground ball up the middle, and Doherty can't get to it. That'll get into center field. Ryan Smith will pick it up. He'll try and play it in. The throw coming to home plate, and it is cut off as the run will score. Nobach scores from second base, and there's quickly a run on the board here in the first inning. 1-0 Knights. So an RBI single there from Andy Atwood, right back from whence it came. A single up the middle, an RBI fashion, as there's one out runner on first base. And so like I was talking about, in addition to Wallum, who was shut down due to his signing to play at a new college. Originally was at Lynn Benton Community College and now signed to Washington State University. In addition to him, also Rylan Luchuk, one of the more dominant right-handers, as this one is taken for a strike on the outside corner here to Michael Farnes. In addition to Wallum, like I was alluding to, Luchuk, the right-hander for Corbin University, and in fact, him and Wallum have really been the two stars of the starting rotation, as this one is taken for strike 2 here, 0-2. Luchuk threw 75 innings during this season, during his college season, I should say, and now was shut down due to an inning limit here over summer ball by his University of Corbin. This one, backdoor breaking ball, ring him up, strike 3 called. Aaron Schaub not wasting any time here against Michael Farnes. After giving up an 0-2 base knock there to Andy Atwood, does the job right there with a curveball, and Michael Farnes is set down on strikes, 2 outs. So now Zach Taylor will step to the plate. So Luchuk, Wallum, they're both gone. And I believe this is, in fact, Aaron Schaub's last start with the Gray Wolves. He threw upwards of around 70 innings this past season for St. Martin's. He's going to be a junior, as now the pitch on the way. Runner takes off, throw down to second base, and it cannot be caught there by the second baseman, Perrin. So that's going to be a stolen base. Seemed like the throw was in time, but nonetheless will go down as a stolen base there for Andy Atwood. That's his 11th now on the season. And so Shoup will step off the mound, rub some dirt there on the baseball. As Taylor will step back in the box, playing first base this evening for Corvallis. And Shoup will now pitch with a runner on second. Fastball spiked in the dirt there, but dug out by Klenke. Had to come across his body that time to make the play. Nonetheless, does for ball one. Already one run in the ball game. Kyle Novak led off. In fact, it was a strikeout that he reached on, so not an earned run against Kyle Shoup, and that's kind of been how some of his starts have gone. A lot of unearned runs for the left-hander as he now fires a fastball just off the outside edge there. 1-0. Excuse me, 2-0 here to Zach Taylor, who so far this season, batting .318, predominantly playing behind the plate, although getting a start over there at first base tonight. 21 hits and 66 at-bats as he now takes the strike on the outside corner at the knees. 2-1. 3 doubles so far in the season for Taylor. 3 RBIs as well. Not a lot of home runs coming from this lineup except from one hitter who is not in the lineup tonight, Travis, as this one is taken for strike 2. Another backdoor breaking ball there to even the count here from Shoup, 2-2. Just a total of 6 home runs produced from this Corvallis Knight offense. Much like the Grey Wolves having to use various methods in order to put runners across the plate. In fact, so far this season, just 4 home runs for the Gresham offense. Is now the pitch on the way, popped up over to the right side, gonna get out of play, foul. And we'll do it again, 2-2. And really quite a beautiful evening here at Osland Field. Not a cloud in the sky. Around 82 degrees when I pulled up around 5 p.m. this afternoon. I mean, just a beautiful day as the sun glowing across Osland Field. Haven't seen that as much as we would have liked this season as this curveball has popped up into shallow center field. Incoming Ryan Smith will take a couple steps in, settle under it, and make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So that'll conclude the top of the 1st as the Knights strike for 1. After reaching on a drop 3rd strike, Novak comes around on the RBI single from Atwood as we'll take a break here. Be back with the Grey Wolves starting lineups here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. And so now we return to you here on Grey Wolves Live for the bottom of the 1st inning, and the Grey Wolves coming to the plate. Dylan Doherty will lead it off, playing shortstop tonight for Gresham, and he'll be facing Grant Goodman, the 6'3" right-hander on the bump. As the first pitch on the way to Doherty is a fastball in the outside corner for strike 1. So Doherty will be leading it off. Curtis Perrin will follow him batting second. Mark Cardinale batting 3rd this evening. Josh Adams in the cleanup spot DHing as this one is swung on and missed by Doherty quickly in a hole here, 0-2. Ryan Smith batting 5th. Connor Zickafoos batting 6th. Behind him, Jeff Mitchell Jr. in the 7 hole, with Ben Klenke batting 8th, and Will Matheson rounding it out in the 9 hole. As this one is swung through, tipped in the glove there, but cannot be corralled by Nick Kale, the catcher for the Knights. So Doherty with second life here. Still an 0-2 count, however. Defensively for Corvallis, Cody Hawkin, will be in left field. Kyle Nobach in center. Emilio Alcantara in right field. This is curveball low in the dirt, taken for ball 1 here by Doherty. On the infield, it'll be Michael Farnes at third base, Andy Atwood at shortstop, Scott Ogren at second base, Zach Taylor at first. Nick Kale will be doing the catching, and of course Grant Goodman on the mound as the 1-2 on the way. Swung on and missed. Chased a fastball high there that time, and Doherty is retired on strikes. So Curtis Perrin will get his first crack at the right-hander. Goodman just 19 years old, or rather 20 years old, as he's a 6'2", 185-pound junior from the University of San Francisco. As a redshirt sophomore at USF, Goodman made an appearance in 13 games, held a 13.02 ERA, recorded 15 strikeouts and 18 in 2/3 innings as the first pitch misses outside there to Perrin, 1-0. In fact, familiar to the West Coast League is Goodman, as he competed for the Bellingham Bells in 2014, in the summer of 2014, I should say, as this pitch misses low here. Now 2-0 to Perrin. So far this season, he's been very dominant. That's putting it nicely, as through 5 games started in 23 innings, has a 1.95 ERA, as he now misses again low here, 3-0 to Perrin. 23 innings pitched so far, 23 strikeouts, just 9 walks, 20 hits allowed. That's coming off his best start of the season. Unfortunately, got the no decision against Walla Walla back on the 13th of July, as now the 3-0 pitch on the way is taken for a strike on the inside corner. An interesting call there from the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham, as the catcher did drop it, but nonetheless ruled a strike. So 3-1 here to Perrin as he checks his swing and takes a strike. Actually, apparently the call was that he went around, said Cunningham, as Perrin looked a little frustrated with the swing. Apparently must have swung at ball 4 there. As the pitch on the way, chopper over to the left side, Atwood over to his right, now fires onto first base, but not in time. An infield single there for Curtis Perrin, flying up the baseline. A hard 90 there earns him an infield single here for the first hit for the Grey Wolves. And so now with a runner on first base and 1 out, it'll be Mark Cardinale that'll come to the plate. And I was talking about Goodman's stellar start just a week to the day at Walla Walla. Went 5 1/3, no earned runs, no runs at all, in fact, as he allowed 3 hits, struck out 6, and walked just 1, as Cardinale will take strike 1 here from Goodman. And Cardinale is a bit of an interesting story. A guy that, at least when he joined the Grey Wolves, kind of found himself all over the order. Was batting early, coming in, then found himself dropping down to the order as he takes a curveball low for a strike. In fact, this return throw here from the catcher gets away from the pitcher Goodman. Unable to take advantage there is Perrin, as the ball did not get far enough away. Nonetheless, the count 1-1. So like I was saying about Cardinale, he, at the beginning of the season, was hitting around the 7 and 8 after he kind of got his first shot with the Grey Wolves, and was not hitting very well as he takes ball 2. But as of late, at least as of the second half, kind of the beginning, he's been batting extremely well. In fact, the last week is batting upwards of around 400. 429 to be exact, is now a pickoff attempt not in time over there at first base. Perrin in safely. But on the season, Cardinale batting .253 through now 22 games played. Has 20 hits in those games, and now he sprays one through the right side. That's going to get in for a base hit. The right fielder, Alcantara, will pick it up and play it in, but not before back-to-back singles here had the Grey Wolves in business in the bottom of the first. So after the Knights strike for 1, the Grey Wolves trying to put something together here. With 1 out, Perrin gets the infield single over to the shortstop, and then Cardinale sprays one through the right side in between the first and second baseman for his first base knock of the night, and that'll bring Josh Adams, who's DHing this evening for the Grey Wolves, to the plate. Josh Adams, much like Cardinale, was a hitter that, at least when he joined the Grey Wolves just about a week and a half before the end of the first half of this season, he really struggled coming out of the gate as he takes the first pitch, curveball high for ball one. However, I believe, in at least talking to him, we actually had him in the booth in that game against the Perth Heat down at Volcano Stadium. That was a very special edition of Grey Wolves baseball. You can go check that out on our YouTube channel in the archives. However, being on with Josh Adams, he spoke about somewhat of the frustrations he had adjusting to Wood. As this one is swung on and missed, gets away from the catcher. Both runners will allow to be advancing up to third and second base, and we'll see if that's a pass ball or a wild pitch. I believe is going to be ruled a pass ball and that's the official call, as it just simply got by him. And now apparently going to be ruled a foul ball, I believe, as both runners will head back to their respective positions at second and first. So what originally was a pass ball, then apparently a late call by the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham, essentially restores what was, and it'll just go down as a strike. So 1-1 here to Adams with runners on second and first. Adams, the hulking left-hander, takes another breaking ball, this time in for a strike here, 1-2. Waves that bat high above his left shoulder. And I was talking about how he really had what he called trouble adjusting to Wood. And what I mean by that is that as someone who's a part of the College World Series for the University of Santa Barbara Gauchos, making their first appearance to the College World Series ever, swinging with metal, and then having to come into the summer season as he takes a ball just off the corner there, 2-2. He struggled to find whether his approach at the plate, something mechanically, whether it be, likely my guess would be mental, because since he has essentially, quote-unquote, figured it out, Josh Adams has been on an absolute tear. His average was below 200 and now has risen up to 280 through just 13 games played, as he takes another curveball outside here to run the count full. Also has 2 home runs and leads the team, obviously, for the Grey Wolves, who just have 4 total on the season, along with 7 RBIs and a total of 9 runs scored so far, but has really cemented himself in the middle of the order, and since he's come on, I mean, this offense for the Grey Wolves has exploded. And I don't think there's any coincidence that Adams has had that influence on this type of order, as now a fake pickoff attempt over to second base. Perrin will head right on over back. But nonetheless, it just seems like with Adams in the order, he seems to take a lot of pressure off the rest of these hitters, because it appeared that at least early on in the season, there was plenty of potential for offense. As the payoff pitch here misses high and outside, ball 4. So that'll walk the bases here as Adams will take first base. And like I was saying, the pressure he takes off the rest of this order, it just seems to be immense. And like I was saying, the resurgence of their offense to begin the second half, at least, and even towards the end of that first half, I do not believe there was I believe that it was no coincidence that Adams kind of kick-started that. And now one member who has been a real force throughout the entirety of the season, Ryan Smith, will come to the plate. Batting .325. In fact, was one of the 2 All-Star selections for the Grey Wolves. And now we'll take a changeup low and inside here for ball 1, and that'll bring Nick Cale out to talk to his pitcher there, Goodman. So Smith, along with Mitchell Jr., ended up having a good time there at the All-Star game. Mitchell Jr. himself had quite a day and was, for lack of better terms, an All-Star among All-Stars. The North Division got a 4-0 victory, with the Grey Wolves being a part of that. And Jeff Mitchell Jr., I should say, the South Division got the victory, and Mitchell Jr. finished the game 3 for 4 as he now takes ball 2 high and inside. Finished 3 for 4 at the plate with a pair of RBIs, and in fact was knocked in the very first inning by Corvallis Knight Kyle Nobach, who ended up taking home MVP honors. Now Ryan Smith will swing at this one, foul it off to the right side, 2-1. And Smith, in addition to his offense that has led the team so far in multiple categories, he got average at-bats, hits, RBIs, which I think is the most impressive, as well as walks, as he now takes ball 3 high. So 3-1 here to Ryan Smith. He's got 20 walks to lead the team, 19 RBIs, Also leads the team in doubles and is third in triples. Second in runs scored to Jack Johnson, who with 21. And now takes a 3-1 on the outside corner. That'll run the count full. Also has played in the most games. In fact, just got his first night off for the Grey Wolves in that exhibition match against the Perth Heat. Payoff pitch on the way and slapped off to the right. We'll do it again here. 3-2. And in addition to that offense, has played gold glove defense out there patrolling center field. And we understand that Osland Field isn't necessarily the biggest field, but he makes it look even smaller with the way he's able to get around as he slaps this one off to the right. Again, keeping the count full here. With the way he's able to get around, his athleticism, his quickness, and I think what stands out to me most is his first step. The read off the bat is very impressive from Ryan Smith, and it looks like he's been doing this for a long time, and with the way he's playing, could hopefully keep doing this for a long time. So now the payoff pitch on the way again. Fastball outside, and that'll bring a run in. The Grey Wolves are on the board here in the first inning. Back-to-back walks here to Adams and now Smith. Brings in the first run as Paris will jog on home, and we got a tie ball game here at Osland Field. So still just one out as Mark Cardinale will move up to third. Adams to second base, and Ryan Smith, will go to first on an RBI walk. No other easier way to do it, as that will now put him at the 20 RBI mark. And it appears that the pitching coach for the Knights will come out. It is going to be Connor Lambert, the pitching coach. Also head coach Brooke Knight there on the dugout, but Lambert making this mound visit. Something to talk about with this young right-hander who so far this season really hasn't faced a lot of adversity. Gave up 3 earned runs against Wenatchee in 3 innings. I don't even believe that was a start, and that was his one non-start appearance. But so far, that was his worst outing. So he really hasn't had to face a lot of tough situations, at least from looking through his game log. It appears that for the majority of the season, it's been pretty easy for this incoming junior at the University of San Francisco. So now the pitching change is done. Pitching mound visit, is done as Goodman fires in the first pitch strike here to the batter now, Connor Zickafoos for strike one. And this is something we also saw in the last series against the Harbor Cats. Multiple All-Stars, Will McCaffer, a right-hander, along with Austin Dondeville, a right-hander, as this one misses low here to even it up at a ball and a strike. Both of those right-handed pitchers, Dondeville, in fact, had an ERA below 1. Will McCaffer had an ERA below 2, so obviously had not given up very many runs this season. And in fact, I believe Dondeville had only given up 3. As Zickafoos now fights this one off down the left field line, slicing, and it will get foul. Dropping right in front of the left fielder, Hawken, who is giving chase for strike 2. And the Grey Wolves, like I was saying, against the Harbor Cats, they were able to get to these pitchers. Dondeville as well as McCaffer, both all-stars for the Harbor Cats. And I think that, at least to begin this second half, that's something they've done well, is put pressure on a lot of these pitchers who haven't faced a lot of difficult situations, not much adversity throughout the season, and are appearing to do that here against Goodman. As now Zickafoos will fight this one off, slap it the other way, going to get out of play. Count remains 1-2. 2 hits in this inning as Perrin led it off with an infield single. Cardinale a single through the right side. Now Josh Adams and Ryan Smith, after working themselves full count walks, have produced a run for Gresham. Still 1 out. There's a 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung and a miss, low in the dirt. Got nowhere to run there as the catcher will just simply pick that one up. That's going to go for strike 3. So 2 strikeouts so far in this inning here for Goodman. 2 outs now with the bases loaded in. Jeff Mitchell Jr., the all-star, coming to the plate for the Grey Wolves. Actually, this was kind of a discussion I was having with our social media guru, if you will, Connor Pelton, that Jeff Mitchell Jr. batting 7th in the lineup tonight as the first pitch on the way to him. A curveball high up around the head area, nonetheless ball 1. The fact that Mitchell Jr. can be batting 7th in the order as an all-star for the Grey Wolves, I think just speaks volumes as to the transformation and evolution of this offense. Because early on in the season, if Mitchell Jr. wasn't going 2 for 4, 3 for 4, the Gray Wolves were simply not coming out with W's as he takes this fastball off the outside corner 2-0. And I talked to him about his performance, 3 for 4, 2 RBIs, played stellar defensively in the outfield. And just the fact that he was named a starter for Gresham, I think, also speaks as to how the Gray Wolves have really made a name for themselves in this inaugural season. As this fastball again misses low. 3-0 here to Mitchell Jr. with the bases loaded. Got to believe he's got the take sign on here. Has worked himself 16 walks so far this season. Also with 8 RBIs, looking to improve both those categories right here. Pitch on the way. Fastball called on the outside corner. That one a little borderline there. Nonetheless called for a strike there by Cunningham. In addition, Mitchell batting .314, 36 hits, 13 runs. All of those behind Ryan Smith, who's on first base. And now we'll take a fastball low, ball 4. So Mitchell Jr. following suit. Smith and Adams earn themselves a walk as members of the middle of this Gray Wolf order. And he's able to continue to keep on walking. He'll take the 90-foot jog on down to first base. In comes Mark Cardinale, 2-1 Gray Wolves. So a nice response inning here for Gresham. And this is something also at the plate that I've been very impressed with, their patience. Now, I think Barkis talked about it in one of our post-game interviews a couple of weeks ago. He thought that the approaches at the plate and the quality of at-bats could be a little better, but I think, at least in the way they've been playing over these last couple of series, especially against the Harbor Cats, not much more you can say about that as Ben Clanky will take ball 1. So Clanky, who steps to the plate, has found himself in a great situation as a catcher. Now back pick over to third base on a ball, and it is not in time. The catcher, Cale, tried to gun down the runner on third base, Adams, who was back in with a head-first slide. And a nice idea by Cale with a free lane to throw down to third base with a left-handed batter up. So nonetheless, same situation for the Gray Wolves as the attempt was foiled. Bases loaded. 2-0 count, 2 outs is big swing and a miss there by Clanky. Tips it into the glove that time of Cale, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Clanky batting .264, making his 17th appearance. 14 hits and 53 at-bats. Has 10 RBIs, however, and the majority of them coming from the bottom of the order. As he swings through another fastball, this time kind of tied him up on the inside edge. And that'll even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. So a 2-1 ball game here in the bottom of the first. The Gray Wolves, after relinquishing 1 run in the top of the first, able to get a couple of back here as Clanky will spray this one back off the screen. Count remains. Clanky has struck out 15 times so far this season, although the majority of those kind of coming early on. And has been a guy that has found himself stapled in the lineup purely because of his bat. Now takes a curveball that just misses a bit high. So full count, the runners will be on the move. Mitchell Jr. on first, Smith on second, Adams on third. Plenty of speed all around the base paths as both Smith and Mitchell Jr. on second and first can both fly. So the payoff pitch here, runners go. This one back off the screen again, and we'll continue here in a full count. The third full count this inning, as both were not kind so far to Grant Goodman. Both Adams and Smith each worked themselves full count walks. In fact, Smith was able, in similar fashion now to Clanky, to work the pitch count up to 8 in this at-bat. Both of them worked walks as now a pickoff attempt tried to possibly catch a couple of runners napping there. Nonetheless, Smith and Mitchell Jr. didn't bite. So now a couple of shakes here from Goodman. The tall right-hander now has his sign. Comes set at the belt. Kicks and fires. Runner to go. This one swung on and missed. Ben Clanky down on strike. So Goodman ends up striking out the side. 3 strikeouts, but also 3 walks. As the Gray Wolves get 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on as we will go to the top of the second here at Osland Field. Do it for the Knights. It'll be Roman Garcia, Nick Kale, and Cody Hockham when we come back here on Grey Wolves Live. Gresham has the lead now 2-1. And so now we come back to you here in the top of the second at Osland Field with the Gresham Grey Wolves hold a 2-1 lead, over the Corvallis Knights. It'll be Roman Garcia against Aaron Schaub to begin this inning as he takes the first pitch strike on the inside part of the plate here, 0-1. Garcia, the designated hitter this evening for the Knights. So far batting .255 this season as he now swings and taps this one off to the left here. Going to get foul, though, and quickly 0-2. Garcia, in fact, has had the third most at-bats for Corvallis this season, making his 30th start. 26 hits in those at-bats as he now chops a slow roller over to the third base side. Zekafus will come in, get it on the run, throw it on to first base in time for the first out of the second. A nice play there by Zekafus, who has not only come along with the bat, but I think more impressively has taken more pride defensively because at least all around the infield, especially for Gresham in that first half, they were looking for answers. I mean, they had trouble, I think, coming up with the easier plays in ball games as this one, a first pitch strike on the way here to Kale. They had a little bit of trouble, at least here in their home matches, and even on the road. I talked to Barkas about it, and defensively they were not where they should have been. Is this one a fly ball, playable out to right field? Ranging back now is Mitchell Jr., he'll make the catch over near the right field line for the second out. So Schaub, after giving up one run, although not earned there in the first inning, as Nobach came around to score after reaching base on a drop third strike. Now quickly 2 outs here in the top of the second with Cody Hockham coming to the plate. Schaub, a tempo kind of pitcher, likes to work fast, bends a breaking ball over the inside edge for strike one. And back to the point about their defense, I mean, they've come so far. We talked about how they've been doing it offensively, and now another ground ball, hard chopper over to Zekafus will collect it and go right to the chest of Matheson in time. And so while I'm talking about their defense, they're able to take the words right out of my mouth. A 1-2-3 inning there for Aaron Schaub as we'll go to the bottom of the second inning. Coming up for the Grey Wolves, it'll be Will Matheson before turning over to the top of the order in Dylan Doherty and Curtis Perrin when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. 2-1, Grey Wolves. And now as we come back to here in the bottom of the second, there's been a pitching change for the Corvallis Knights. The right-hander Cameron Richmond on the mound now in the stead of Grant Goodman as he'll face Will Matheson. First pitch popped up over the right, will get out of play, foul for strike one. And so just a short leash here in that first inning for the junior at USF, Cameron Goodman, or rather, excuse me, I should say Grant Goodman, as now Cam Richmond will fire this one, a fastball belted into deep center field, but in the ballpark, playable there for the center fielder Nobach as he'll get back around the track and make the catch for the first out. So a long one, nonetheless, will go down as an F8 for Will Matheson, as now Dylan Doherty will come to the plate, representing the top of the order.
Shortstop number 2, Dylan Doherty.
So far this season, I can pull him up here, Richmond has pitched in 11 games, so now making his 12th appearance, 17 and a third innings so far, as he now kicks and fires a fastball that misses off the plate outside here to Doherty, 1-0. From Walla Walla, Washington, 6 foot, 175-pound sophomore, or going to be sophomore, I should say, at the University of Portland. So the pilot product will now fire a fastball low and inside here, 2-0 to Doherty. As a freshman at UOP, Richmond made 22 appearances for the Pilots, and he was 1-2 with a 5.13 ERA. Pitched 26 in the third inning, as now Doherty will spray this one back out of play, 2-1. And in fact had 21 strikeouts. So far this summer season, like I mentioned, 17 and a third, a 6.23 ERA, although has himself a 2-1 record. And most likely the product of that good offense for the Knights is this one, a ground ball over to the second baseman, Scott Ogren. He'll play it on a hop, go to first base in time, and there's 2 away.
Second baseman, number 9, Curtis Perrin.
In his last appearance on the 17th, so actually just about 3 days ago against the Cowlitz Black Bears at home. Pitched 3 innings, allowed no earned runs, 3 hits, also with 3 strikeouts. Does have 13 strikeouts total through his 11 appearances so far this season. Is now with 2 outs, Curtis Perrin will step in and take ball 1 high and outside. Has a total of 3 wins this season, as one of them came in non-league competition back on the first against a team that I don't believe I've heard of. The Portland Sea Dogs, in fact, so that was a bit of a scrimmage, and it makes sense, especially with the connection between the Pilots. As this one on its way, the 2-0 pitch is sprayed off to the left, going to get out of play, foul, 2-1. So Richmond probably familiar with a lot of those players. Picked up his first win there, got his second win on June 7th against Bellingham, and got his second official win against the Yakima Valley Pippins on July 9th, as this one is another foul ball to even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 2-1 here. In the bottom of the second inning, Grey Wolves against the Knights. The first half champs in the South Division in the form of the Knights, again so far leading the South Division with a 7-2 record, and the Grey Wolves as this curveball is high and outside, full count. Perrin singled in his first at-bat, was an infield single over to the shortstop Atwood, ended up coming around to score. As now the payoff pitch, high fly ball, belted out to right field. Giving chase now is the right fielder, Alcantar. He'll get over near the line and will make the catch. Just about 10 feet in front of that 330 mark down the right field line. Had a ways to go, but was able to track it down as a 1-2-3 inning for the Grey Wolves will now lead us to the third inning here at Osland Field. So it'll be Scott Ogren and Kyle Nobach along with Emilio Alcantara when we return here on Grey Wolves Live. 2-1, the Grey Wolves lead. And so now we're just about set to go here to begin this third here at Osland Field. Aaron Schaub back out on the mound for his third inning of work. And it'll be Scott Ogren in his first at-bat stepping to the plate. After allowing one unearned run in the first inning, Schaub had himself a 1-2-3 second and begins this inning with a fastball low in the dirt here for ball one. Ogren playing second base this evening for Corvallis, batting .302. So a nice little spark at the bottom of the order, kind of that second leadoff man, if you will. Batting with no batting gloves as he checks his swing here. A changeup low, no appeal there. Going to be called ball two. So Ogren, has scored 18 runs so far this season, second most on the team, and for someone at the bottom of the order as he now takes ball three. Schaub didn't like the call, but nonetheless, a 3-0 count here to Ogren. Doing a nice job at the bottom of the order, kind of setting the table for the top. Also with a couple of triples as well as 4 doubles as he will take ball 4 here, fastball low. So Schaub none too happy with himself, allowing a 4-pitch walk here to begin this third. But nonetheless, we'll have to now work from the stretch with Kyle Nobach coming to the plate. Nobach struck out in his last at-bat, but on the strikeout, got between the legs of Clanky, ended up skipping away kind of in an interesting placement. It was right behind the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham, and as a result, Clanky couldn't see the ball, and that allowed Nobach to get to first base and ended up coming around to score. So now the first pitch on the way to him. Fastball, the shot will get right back in the zone there, 0-1. So technically 0 for 1 so far as Nobach, although batting .349 coming into play. 29 hits, that's second on the team. Also with 13 RBIs, good for third. Very impressive at the top of the order as Nobach is now a pickoff attempt. No tag there by Matheson at first base. As the shadows have begun to creep out a little more from left field. Streaking across into right. No glare there over on the right side as Matheson, as well as the second baseman and right fielder Perrin and Mitchell Jr. both have their glasses, but none of them on as this one way outside. Clanky had to get out of his way to snag that one. And now 1-1. Infielders pinching up the middle, looking for that double play ball. Although the sun, in a way, has kind of been a little pushed out a little further into center field with the shadows creeping now onto the infield as ball 2 is fired. A fastball almost in the identical position as the last one, high and outside. So Schaub will take a quick breather off the mound. The St. Martin's product, not a lot of walks during his college season so far. None too many walks here as a Gray Wolf. Just 14 handed out through 38 2/3 innings coming into play. The most he's walked in a game was 5, but that was early on in the season as this one pop up on the infield. Perrin under it. Now we'll take a couple steps in, finally settles, and will make the catch for the first out. So a nice pitch there, a breaking ball in on the hands of Nobach. A very dangerous hitter, didn't allow him to get extended, and instead gets a pop out for the first out. So Emilio Alcantar will now step to the plate. He, in his first at-bat, in fact, gave himself up on a sacrifice bunt. So now he'll have to come to the plate swinging. First pitch on the way, ground ball over the right side, fielded by the second baseman Perrin, kind of gets up into the chest of, but still is able to recover and go to first. Didn't really have a play over at second, and I think made the smart play not to rush himself. And these are the type of plays that the Gray Wolves early on in the season, I don't think they make those type of decisions. Perrin, who was also kind of a late addition to the Gray Wolves around the time of Adams, I believe a little bit before him, but nonetheless has been stellar up the middle. Him along with Doherty playing shortstop, they've been able to form a bit of a tandem up the middle. And so now the third batter will come to the plate here, Andy Atwood, as Ogren will advance to second base, so it now puts himself in scoring position as Atwood takes ball 1 here low. And Schaub, who now has his sign, checks the runner at second. Slide step as this one, a fly ball laced out to deep right field. Mitchell Jr. giving chase, now will settle and makes the over-the-shoulder catch. A nice play there for Mitchell Jr. as after a leadoff 4-pitch walk, Schaub goes 1-2-3 to retire the side. So we'll head to the bottom of the third. Coming up for the Gray Wolves, it'll be Cardinale, Adams, and Ryan Smith due up. when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. I'm Evan Giddings, and the Grey Wolves lead it 2-1. And so now Mark Cardinale will step to the plate here against Cam Richmond. The right-hander in his second inning of work takes the first pitch, fastball on the outside corner for strike one. Cardinale had a single through the right side in his first at-bat, ended up coming around to score. Scored the second run of the ball game, and that's the amount that the Grey Wolves has. He takes ball two, a breaker off the plate outside, 1-1. 2-1. The Grey Wolves advantage here early on in this ball game, here in the bottom of the third. Almost done with 1/3 of this game, as this one is chopped over to the left, going to get out of play, foul here, 1-2. So the starter, Grant Goodman, not able to go much at all. Only one inning. Allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. Walked 3, and I think that's the statistic that stands out the most to me, is Cardinale takes a breaking ball too far inside. That front door pitch couldn't quite bend around, and Cardinale now at a 2-2 count. The one interesting, really eye-popping number there for Goodman in that first inning, struck out all 3 batters as Cardinale fights this one off. Going to get out of play behind our heads here. Count remains 2-2. So, in fact, Goodman able to strike out the side there in that inning. Struck out the first batter, and then the 6th as well as the 8th, as this one is popped up over to the left. Going to get into the crowd there. Someone's going to have themselves a souvenir and bounces on beyond the parking lot there. So a couple of kids will scurry to that one as Cardinale continues to fight here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch on the way, breaking ball, taken low. Nice take there by Cardinale. That'll run the count full. Some more patience here exhibited by Grey Wolves hitters. They have done such a good job at working pitch counts early in the game, allowing them to get to the bullpen. This one, a ground ball through the left side. Atwood can't get to it into left field. Cardinale's got himself a couple of base knocks here to begin this ball game. And with, nobody out, Cardinale leads this one off here with a single. So now Adams will come to the plate with the runner aboard. He walked in his first at-bat in a full count, although was stranded on third base, a part of the 3 runners that the Grey Wolves left on in the first inning, although still able to consider that inning a success as they knocked in 2. They were able to bring in 2 runs and take the lead, I should say, is now the first pitch on the way here to Adams from Richmond. A fastball low in the dirt, blocked nicely that time by Cale as Cardinale will scamper back to first. And Adams, who is a part of that 8 batters coming to the plate in the first, really an intimidating force there in the cleanup hole, has cemented himself in and around that 4 hole. Haven't seen him too much higher or too much lower as he takes ball 2 here. And so maybe some of these Corvallis Knights pitchers are just afraid to get in around the strike zone. at least according to their statistics on paper, looking up and down their rotation, a lot of their pitchers have been strikeout artists, as this one a fastball high, the appeal down to the field umpire that time, Mark Anderegg, and yes, he did go. So 2 balls and a strike. So Adams taking his time getting back in the box here, going to have to refocus up. I don't think he believed he went around. And so maybe taking a quick breather to recover from that as he now takes a big swing. Just missed this one to even up the count at 2-2. So Evan Giddings bringing you Gresham Grey Wolves baseball here. A 2-1 ball game in the bottom of the third. Grey Wolves with 3 hits, Corvallis with 1. There's now Richmond. Kicks and fires. Fastball on the inside corner. Strike 3 called as Adams, he knew it that time. Couldn't pull the trigger on an inside fastball. And that'll be the first out of this inning for the Grey Wolves. 4th strikeout of the night. First one looking, however, as Adams is down. And now Ryan Smith will step to the plate. And his first plate appearance had an RBI walk. Not something you see too often, as he was able to put himself now and break the 20 RBI threshold. A very impressive feat for Smith, who also has, now that the offense has found themselves a little bit, Smith has found himself in the 5-hole for the majority of these past couple of weeks as he takes strike 1. And Cardinale will take his lead over at first. Inching off first base. Now settles as the 0-1. Fastball right down the heart of the plate. Quickly 0-2 here to Smith. So Smith, a player that coming in at least you didn't know much about from Southern Illinois, as he now takes a fastball up and in high for ball 1. Didn't know much about him, but has given you everything you could have asked for, whether it be defensively, offensively, on the base paths. Is a great base runner, a real student of the game. Now is the 1-2 on the way. Big breaking ball, check swing, pop up over to the right side. It's going to get down. The second baseman will go to second. On to first. Nope, will hold the ball there. Looked like he was going to make a throw to try and turn 2, but nonetheless, a nice play there from Ogren. Was kind of a check swing looper. Didn't break the infield dirt, so was on the grass, chopped up. Ogren realized that Adams had hesitated, didn't see if the ball was going to be caught or not, because the first baseman, Taylor, looked like he might have had a play on it. Nonetheless, Adams had to hesitate, and that allowed the second baseman, Ogren, to go to second and get the force out there. So fielder's choice there for Smith, as Cardinale is out on the 4-6 putout, and now Zicafus will step to the plate. Now pickoff attempt over there, no tag by the first baseman, Taylor. As Zicafus is 0 for 1, struck out swinging back in the first. Was part of those 3 Ks for Goodman. Now another quick pickoff attempt this time, a better move there, nearly got him, but nonetheless Smith back in time with the head first slide. There was that A move there from Cam Richmond. The first one was a bit of just a kind of a toss over, maybe get him a glance. That one, some quick feet there from Richmond as he was able to snap it around. Nonetheless, now we'll have to refocus here. Fires a fastball just off the plate outside to Zicafus, 1-0. As Zicafus has bumped that average above 300. Was kind of on the edge, I get, if you will, of 300 as he now takes a fastball outside 2-0. Was on the edge, kind of around the 280, 290 margin. But after a big series against the Harbor Cats, able to increase that now to 305. In fact, especially after that last game, the rubber match of the series was the MVP for the Grey Wolves as he now takes the third pitch, the 2-0 on the way, fastball outside, 3-0. Went 4 for 5 on July 14th against the Harbor Cats. 2 runs, a double and a triple. In fact, had 3/4 of the cycle. All he would have needed is a home run to complete it. Also ended up with an RBI himself. The game before went 2 for 4. I should say the game he played before the first game of that series against the Harbor Cats as he takes ball 4 here. He went 2 for 4 in that game with a double as well as 2 more runs scored. So against arguably the best team in the West Coast League, at least so far this season, record-wise, Zicafus had his big breakout series. And so now he'll take first base. Smith will now move up to second, and Jeff Mitchell Jr. will now step to the plate. The right-hander continues to rock that United States of America batting tape around the handle of his bat as he now takes a first pitch strike around the knees there from Richmond. 0-1. So with 2 outs, a runner now in scoring position. And Mitchell Jr. has come on strong in many of these situations. Him along with Smith have kind of been the go-to 2-out hitters as he checks his swing on a breaking ball. Is able to hold up, though, 1-1. Throughout his 113 at-bats, which is just second on the team to Smith, has recorded 8 RBIs, many of them coming in these types of situations as he takes a fastball inside here, 2-1. Probably one of the main reasons he was selected to the South Division All-Star team, representing the Gresham Grey Wolves in their inaugural season. Now a fake steal attempt at third base as he'll get back to second from Smith, and a swing and a miss here for Mitchell Jr., now 2-2. 2-1, the Grey Wolves lead here against the Knights in the first game of this 3-game series, and arguably the most important series so far. Division opponents is now a fake pickoff attempt back to second. Smith not fooled as he's back in plenty of time. In fact, there was nobody even home. But nonetheless, this will be the greatest test for the Grey Wolves yet. So now Richmond with his sign, comes set at the belt. Smith takes off for third as this one is popped over to the right. Had the bag, but nonetheless, in a 2-strike count, Mitchell Jr. had to defend and will keep himself alive here in a 2-2 count. Not running on the play was Zickafu, so it appeared like Smith thought he had the timing down of Richmond and certainly has the green light anytime he wants it. And Zickafu doesn't necessarily run well, although extremely athletic, able to make a lot of plays over to third base. And now the 2-2 fouled back off the screen again. Staying alive is Mitchell Jr. here. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. So now Richmond will ask for some new leather. Pop that baseball right in. Brent Cunningham will oblige him, get him a new baseball. Outfielders kind of shifting out towards right field, especially in this 2-strike count. Nobach more towards right center. Alcantara down the line. And now another fake pickoff attempt over to second. This time, Ogren was there, but no throw made by the pitcher, Richmond. Also appears that the left fielder, Hawken, playing a little more towards left center field. And this is the general 2-strike shift, playing more towards the opposite field as the 2-2 pitch again fouled off over the right. So now the 8th pitch of the at-bat will be coming up here to Mitchell Jr., continuing to fight. And here in this inning alone, we've already seen multiple at-bats that have gone more than 5 pitches. And I think that is, or should be, the goal for the majority of this offense, especially one that likes to see a lot of pitches. Helps them at the plate. The 2-2 runners on the move again. Breaking ball in the dirt. Ryan Smith snags third base easily. So Smith now with 9 stolen bases on the season, trailing Michael Breen, who has also been shut down due to an ACL tear. Unfortunately, we wish him the best, but he will no longer be with us for the rest of this season. So essentially just trailing Mitchell Jr., who has 11 stolen bases. So Smith steals third. Zickafu remains on first base as there's runners on the corner. So still an easy way out for the infielders. Going to second base. The force still there is now payoff pitch on the way. And the leg kick, and he'll fake attempt a 53 move. So what I mean by that is he'll pick up his leg and fake a throw to third base, then try and quickly turn to first. Zickafu's not biting is now the payoff pitch on the way. Fastball low in the dirt. Mitchell Jr. will take the walk. So back-to-back walks here issued out as Zickafu will head to second base. He was the first free base of this inning, and now Mitchell Jr. here in a full count. So all night, Gresham has been winning these type of long at-bats. With 9 pitches on the way there to Mitchell Jr., now Ben Klinke will come to the mound. First pitch on the way to him with the bases now loaded is a fastball high, 1-0. Kalinke's 0 for 1. He struck out to end the first inning. So a similar situation, does not want to repeat that. Here the 1-0 pitch on the way. Fastball swung on and missed. Kind of waved over that one off the plate outside and might have chased ball 2, but nonetheless will even the count at a ball and a strike. So now Richmond, a long look in there, finally has his sign and kicks in, fires a fastball this time in a similar position to the last one. However, Kalinke learns his lesson, did not chase, and takes ball 2. Kalinke steps back in the box, the left-handed batter. Now the 2-1, sprayed off to the left, and will slice out of play, foul. The third baseman, Farnes, giving chase that time, but we'll watch it go. In fact, this one came back. It was around the tarp there down the left field line, and Farnes almost had a play as he crashes into the gate of the bullpen and as it swings wide open. So obviously that bullpen area not securely locked up as they'll try and close it for all they can, but nonetheless, hopefully Farnes okay. Appears to be as he'll jog back to the field. But nothing that you could really do about it that time is Ian Sanderson, the pitching coach, will head down there and try and take a look at how to maybe keep that more securely in place. Because it looked like Farnes definitely had some momentum going down there, but tried to use the fence to brace himself. Could not. 2-2 now on the way to Kalinke. Fastball high that'll run the count full. So this Gresham offense, a new look offense as you will, especially to start this second half, has won every single full count so far tonight, hoping to continue the trend here. Payoff pitch on the way, fastball outside, ball 4. They've walked another. The Corvallis Knights have walked in 2 runs so far in this game. Now the second coming with Ryan Smith. He'll coast into home plate. They have a 3-1 lead.
Number 33, Will Matheson.
Zickafoos will move up to third base. Mitchell Jr. on to second as Ben Kalinke is now aboard. That's 3 walks in a row here for Cam Richmond as there appears to be no action going down there in the Knights bullpen. And we saw the frustration, especially in the first inning, from the head coach Brooke Knight of the starter, Grant Goodman. Only ended up going 1 inning as now Will Matheson, the 9-hitter, will step to the plate and takes ball 1. He was obviously frustrated with his performance as he didn't even allow him to go out for the second inning. Instead, brought in Richmond, who had a 1-2-3 second. And after getting the first 2 outs of this inning, has essentially imploded as Will Matheson sprays this one down the left field line, but foul by about 15 feet there, 1-1. Cardinale reached on a single through the left side. Then after a strikeout from Adams, Ryan Smith grounded into a fielder's choice. So with 2 outs, there was runners on second and first. But since that point, 3 straight walks handed out by Cam Richmond. As this one, a fastball right down the heart of the plate here to Matheson, 1-2. And you got to give credit to the Grey Wolves. I mean, not stepping out of their shoes to try and chase pitches, waiting for their pitch. They simply haven't got it so far. There's a 1-2 on the way. Breaking ball just low and outside. Brooke Knight not necessarily happy with that pitch. Thought it missed a little. Low did the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham. That'll even up the count. And so now there is some action down there in the bullpen. There's another breaking ball on the way too far inside. Matheson spins out of the way of that one, and we have another full count. So it appears some accelerated game of catch being played down there in the bullpen. It looks like number 27 is warming up, the right-hander for the Knights. We'll get that name for you as quickly as possible. But now the payoff pitch on the way. Fastball up and in. Will Matheson almost hit by that pitch. And 4 straight walks handed out here by Cam Richmond. Another run will come across in the form of Connor Zickafoos, and it's 4-1 Gresham. So you can't blame him at this point for essentially just waiting for ball 4 to come. No hits, or rather I should say 1, but not really having an impact in this inning as Cardinale singled to begin the inning. But the 2 runs that have come across have reached on a fielder's choice and a walk. So now Mitchell Jr. will go to third, Kalinke to second as the pitching coach again for the Knights. Connor Lambert will come out to the mound and have a chat with his young right-hander. And an incoming sophomore at the University of Portland is Richmond, so obviously has been there. I mentioned that 22 appearances during the college season. And obviously tonight just has not had it. He walked 4 back in his victory on July 9th against the Yakima Valley Pippins, although that was over 3 1/3 inning, as now Lambert will head back to the dugout, and Dylan Doherty, the leadoff hitter for Gresham, will step to the plate. However, he has walked 4 batters in this inning, and up until this point in the season, that is, he had 17 1/3 innings logged, had only 7 walks. So Cam Richmond just unable to find it with a bit of the yips here in the bottom of the third, allowing 2 Gray Wolves runners to come across. And if they'll keep handing them out, might as well keep taking them. There's still 2 outs. The base is loaded. First pitch on the way to Doherty is a fastball outside. And you got to think at this point, especially if he walked in another, that would be the hook for Richmond, as Knight pointing down to his bullpen, asking if he's hot at this point. So definitely an accelerated game and catch. Looks like Cody Hoff, the right-hander, number 27, warming up as the 1-0 pitch, a fastball on the outside corner. Finally able to get back in the zone. Here's Richmond. And there's been 1 4-pitch walk handed out this inning. That was to Zikafus, who just came across the score. But for the most part, Richmond has been in and around the strike zone as he fires ball 2. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full counts. Scratch that 4 as Adams struck out in a 2-2. Nonetheless, 4 full counts, all walks, as this one swung on a miss by Doherty, as that'll even it up at 2-2. And so a 4-1 ball game in favor of Gresham over Corvallis at this point. And just 3 hits, I believe, recorded for Gresham as they have 4 runs. Able to take advantage of the mistakes here by the Corvallis pitching staff. And now the 2-2 will come. Fastball, chase it upstairs. Doherty swings it a fastball around the letters as the Corvallis Knights finally stop the bleeding. 4 walks lead the 2 runs for the Gray Wolves as we head to the 4th inning here at Osland Field. A 4-1 lead in the favor of your Gresham Gray Wolves. And so now we're set to begin the 4th inning here at Osland Field in the first game of a 3-game series between the Gresham Gray Wolves and the Corvallis Knights. A 4-1 advantage in favor of Gresham as Aaron Schaut back up for the first batter of the inning. He'll face Michael Farnes as he fires a fastball outside 1-0. And so we come back to you after a bit of a long and extended bottom of the 3rd inning for the Gray Wolves, and certainly a fan of that as it was able to produce 2 runs as Schaut fires a fastball across the knees here to Farnes to even the count. As Gresham took advantage of 4 walks handed out by the Knights in that inning as this backdoor breaking ball can't quite get the outside edge here for ball 2 against Farnes. And apart from a leadoff single from the left fielder Mark Cardinale, as this one is popped up over the right side, trailing into shallow right field, and it's going to be Mitchell Jr. that's calling for it, and he'll make the catch. Called off Perrin and Matheson over at second and first base, as Schaup, after that first inning, relinquishing an unearned run, has really coasted. So the F9, one out here. And like I was mentioning, Cardinale led off the inning with a single, and that was the only hit in that inning that the Gray Wolves produced. They ended up scoring 2, however. After Smith grounded into a fielder's choice, there was 2 outs at that point, and then 4 walks in a row brought in 2 runs for the Gray Wolves. As Zach Taylor takes ball 1, and now the 1-0 pitch on the way is hit high and deep to left field. Giving chase is the left fielder Cardinale. He will look up and watch this one go. A solo shot right there from Zach Taylor gets the Knights back on the board, and it's 4-2 here now on the top of the 4th. And a nice swing there from Zach Taylor, able to hop on that fastball. Everyone out of the dugout for Corvallis is, at this point, the game had not been going their way and possibly sensing a bit of momentum shift, able to get out of the dugout and celebrate that home run with their teammate. Zach Taylor, in fact, that was his first run of the season, so maybe that's the reason everyone was out of the dugout celebrating his inaugural long ball as a member of the Corvallis Knights. And so Garcia, who fouled the first pitch of the at-bat off. Now the 0-1 on the way. Big curveball laced down the right field line. Hooking, though, and it is fair just inside the right field line. Gonna round first, easily to second as Mitchell Jr. holds his hands up, the ball into the ivy, and is going to have to be checked there by the field umpire, Mark Anderegg. Throwing his hands up as the umpire, and it appears that it's going to be ruled a ground rule double. Those are the rules here at Osland Field, with ivy kind of lacing all across the outfield, stemming from even past the right field line, and that's kind of where it creeps even onto the warning track down the right field line. But the ivy that graces the outfield wall all across from right to left, we've seen a bunch of different situations where the ball has sort of been poking out of the ivy and the outfielders have had an opportunity to grab it, but it appeared this time that Mitchell Jr. had no play on it, and so we'll send a member, rather the Corvallis Knights will send a member of their own team down there to look for that ball. So after a home run here, a one-out double for Roman Garcia puts him on second base as Nick Kale will step to the plate against Schaup. Long look in here from Schaup as he finally fires, and a fastball taken at the knees here, 0-1. That was Garcia's 6th double of the season, officially putting him in the team lead. He was all knotted at 5 with another member of the starting lineup, Cody Hawken, who's batting 9th, as this one is hit a fly ball deep into right field, giving chase to Mitchell Jr. It gets over his head, just beyond the glove as it gets up onto the warning track. Mitchell Jr. having trouble with it, will play it back in, but not before one run will score. And essentially trading places there as Nick Hale, back-to-back opposite field doubles here for the Knights. And just like that, they trail 1. 4-3 here as the Gray Wolves, I should say Aaron Schaup, after giving up a home run here with 1 out, back-to-back doubles have the Knights back in this ball game. So now Hawken will come to the plate. 3 hits in a row for the Knights, and I think that just speaks to the explosiveness of their offense at any point of this ball game. We've heard about it, and now finally get to witness it. As Hawken will step to the plate, takes a curveball high, ball 1. Carrying just a .252 batting average coming into play, but also featuring 5 Knights with batting averages above 300. As the 0-1 fastball way outside there, blocked by Clanky, 2-0. As Kale, an impressive opposite field extra base hit. So Schaup will check the runner on second, and now fires a fastball low here, 3-0. No action in the Gray Wolves bullpen. As this, a bit of a shock, in fact, as Schaup has managed to stay away from these kind of innings that have compounded on him. Hasn't allowed too many of these multiple run innings to get to him as he fires a fastball over the heart of the plate for strike one, 3-1. Like I mentioned, his worst start was his second one of the season, or I should rather say his first start of the season. Came out of the bullpen in non-conference action against Thurston County, but his very first start of the year against Cowlitz on June 8th, as the 3-1 on the way misses high. A breaking ball doesn't quite bend back low enough, and that's ball 4. He gave up 5 earned runs, a total of 6 against Cowlitz back on the 8th. However, since then, has given up 3, 2, 2, and 2. Has been very consistent at keeping the Gray Wolves in the ballgame. And in fact, since that day, he was able to go 5 1/3, which is impressive in of itself, giving up that many runs, but still being able to remain in the ballgame. As now Ogren will get up on the way. So laces this one into right field. Over is Mitchell Jr. He'll get it on the run. Throws on a second base, but not in time. Nearly had the runner doubled off there, and Nick Hale, who ranged a little too far off the bag, but nonetheless is able to get back in time as Ogren lines out for the second out of this inning. And so since that start against Cowlitz, went 6, 6 1/3, 8 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, has produced quality starts in every single start besides his first one. So Schaup, and an opportunity here to keep them at 2 runs, keep his team with the lead with 2 outs, and Kyle Nobach coming to the plate. A very dangerous hitter from the right-handed side, and a breaking ball too far in, ball 1. Now that curveball has been quite a weapon for Schaup so far in this game, and in fact has been his go-to put-away pitch so far this season. Kind of a 3-quarter delivery, bearing down in on right-handers. We've already seen a couple of weak pop-ups from that pitch alone tonight. We'll see if he goes to it here. This one a fastball, laced out, fly ball into right field, playable for Mitchell Jr. He'll take a couple steps to his left, settles under it, and makes the catch to retire the side. So the Knights strike for 2. A solo shot from Zach Taylor and an RBI double from Nick Kale as they have drawn within 1. So we'll head to the bottom of the 4th with the Gray Wolves coming up. A little bit of work to do. Curtis Perrin, Mark Cardinale, and Josh Adams will return here on Gresham Gray Wolves Live. And so we're just about set to begin action here in the bottom of the 4th at Austin Field. A new pitcher on the mound for the Corvallis Knights. It'll be number 27, Cody Hoff, the tall right-hander, and he'll get the middle of the order, 2, 3, 4 for the Gray Wolves. Curtis Perrin, Mark Cardinale, and Josh Adams due up in this inning. Now the Knights were able to strike back in the top half of this frame with 2 runs on a solo shot as well as an RBI double. So back in this ballgame, 4-3 here on the campus of Mount Hood Community College. As just about finished with his warm-up pitches is Hoff, and in fact just making his 3rd appearance as a member of the Corvallis Knights. So far has only thrown 2 innings so far. Originally from Eureka, California, a 6'3", 190-pound right-hander. entering his junior season, played at Lynn Belton Community College. In his sophomore season, pitched 17 2/3 innings in 9 appearances, did have 1 start, accumulated 19 strikeouts to go along with a 6.11 ERA and an 0-1 record. So far, in fact, this season has only pitched in non-conference games. Has 4 starts in those non-conference games, so hasn't been used a whole lot so far against West Coast League competition as he fires in a first pitch fastball low and in for ball 1 here against Perrin. In those non-league games, he has been quite effective. 16 innings through 4 starts, 1 win and 0 losses and a 1.12 ERA. As the second pitch of the at-bat, too far inside as well as in the dirt to Perrin 2-0. In those games, 11 strikeouts, 6 walks surrendered, 7 hits. So getting his 3rd look now at the South Division here at the West Coast League. From the windup, 2-0 pitch on the way. Fastball up and in. Had to jump out of the way of that one, did Perrin for ball 3. As on the verge of walking another Gray Wolf batter. 7 walks so far on the night for the Corvallis pitching staff. As the 3-0 now on the way. A fastball right down the heart of the plate. Going to be called for strike 1 there. And in fact, his 2 appearances came in earlier, about a month ago. In fact, 3 days ago and 1 month. Made his last appearance against West Coast League competition against Kitsap as he fires a fastball too far inside to Perrin. He'll take ball 4. So Perrin, who is 1 for 2, now picks up a base on balls to begin the bottom of the 4th for the Gray Wolves. And a good sign there with Mark Cardinale coming to the plate. He's 2 for 2. So like I was mentioning, that appearance against Kitsap, faced 4 batters, walked 1, struck out 1 in an inning of work, didn't allow any runs. Also pitched against Wenatchee exactly 1 week before that Kitsap appearance as the first pitch misses here to Cardinale, ball 1. Pitched an inning, gave up 2 runs, none of them earned, however, but did allow 2 hits and a walk, while also striking out 2. So a very lanky right-hander is now a pickoff attempt over to first base, is not in time. Not even a tag there from Taylor. No signs being put on here from the third base coach and head coach Justin Barkas, so Cardinale will get to swing the bat. We'll see if Perrin, with the green light himself, extremely quick over there at first base, takes his lead. And now the 1-0. Fastball popped up on the infield. Coming in is the second baseman Ogren. He'll call off the first baseman Taylor to make the catch. And there's 1 away. So now Josh Adams will step in. He's 0 for 1. Struck out looking in his last at-bat. Walked in the first. So Cody Hoff, like I was saying, it looks like, at least from his warm-up pitches, and especially in his first at-bat there against Cardinale, features a pretty firm fastball, if you will, around mid to upper 80s. A breaking ball is now the runner on the move. Pitch out, throw down to second base, and it is in time. Just getting Curtis Perrin in with a foot-first slide, and a nice call there by Brooke Knight, the head coach. A pitch out that time here that will catch Perrin stealing for the second out of this inning. Also a nice throw there from Kale. Well executed all around. The shortstop Atwood was there to apply the tag on the 2-6 put out. The pitch was made well far outside, not even close. So Adams unable to put a bat on it in case it was a hit-and-run situation. And a direct laser beam throw by Kale is a big swing and a miss here from Adams. And the count now 1-1. So Perrin, who so far this season had, I believe, 5 stolen bases, now is caught stealing for the second time. Is another big swing and a miss there from Adams as he's tied up on a breaking ball in the inside corner. It's 1-2. Adams tonight has really had trouble seeing this night's pitching. Has been really the only member that has struggled at the plate. Besides Dylan Doherty, who's 0 for 3. Has not seemed comfortable so far in that left-handed batter's box. We'll try and get back on track here as Hoff now has his sign. 1-2 on the way. Fastball inside, and it's right off the backside of Josh Adams. Doesn't want to rub that one as he'll take off all of his gear, head down to first base, and a hit by pitch. So the first one of that fashion this evening for Corvallis, but nonetheless another free base handed out by Knights pitchers. A total of 8 now this evening. So that'll bring Ryan Smith to the plate as he's 0 for 1 with a stolen base as well as a run scored and an RBI. In fact, had an RBI walk in the first inning. That brought in the first runner of the ball game, Curtis Perrin. So he will step in with 2 outs. Runner now on first. And it was in this situation that the Grey Wolves were able to produce 2 runs thanks to essentially gifts from the Knights pitching staff as Smith will take ball 1 outside. In the previous inning, there was 2 outs with a runner on first. Smith was on first in this situation, and then Zickafoose walked, Mitchell Jr. walked, Ben Klinke walked, and Will Matheson walked. They're bringing 2 runs. It's now the 1-0 pitch on the way to Smith. Fastball taken right down the heart of the plate. So now Adams will take his lead on first. No stolen bases so far this season, but definitely has shown the capability to move out there in the outfield. So the 1-1 on the way. Now shows bunt does Smith as he takes a fastball just off the plate outside. A nice eye right there to pull back the bunt. And we've seen Smith drop down a couple of drag bunts so far this season. Had 1 infield single on a bunt attempt against the Harbor Cats in his last series. And with the extra base power, as well as the ability to slap him all around the infield, he doesn't mind laying one down from time to time as he hits a high pop fly over to the left side towards the infield, but will get out of play just beyond the dugout here of the Gresham Grey Wolves. And a free souvenir looks like there for a young lady, so congratulations to her. Picking up a Northwest League baseball, or West Coast League baseball, excuse me, as the count now evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Smith. It also appears that there's another reliever in the bullpen for the Knights, so I don't believe at this point they had expected for a total of 3 pitchers to be in, but it's turned into a bit of a staff game so far this year. 2-2 pitch on the way, fastball fouled back off the screen there by Smith. Will do it again, able to stay alive. Worked an 8-pitch at bat back in the first inning and has now seen 5 pitches so far here in the 4th. It appears like a right-hander is the one warming up for the Knights, although now has settled down, especially with 2 outs. As the 2-2 on the way again. Breaking ball low in the dirt, taken there by Smith. A nice block from Kale to keep it in front, but nonetheless the count will run full. So we'll see Adams off on this pitch. Certainly would be able to score on any ball in the gap. Nonetheless, Smith will get a pitch to hit, hopefully, here in this 3-2 count. Grey Wolves have won every single full count so far. Runners on the move, fastball low and outside, ball 4. The 9th free base handed out by Corvallis. 8th of the walk fashion, as that will now bring Zickafoose to the plate with a runner in scoring position. Now we'll see if Lightning can strike twice, essentially, here in this situation. Back in the 3rd with 2 outs, they ended up getting 2 runs in this same spot. And with Zickafoose coming to the plate, it looks like skipper Bob Knight is going to go to his bullpen. Haven't seen him come out so far. It's been the pitching coach Connor Lambert, as he will go to the pen. A pitching change, as we'll take a quick break here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. Runners on second and first. The Grey Wolves have the lead 4-3. When we come back, I'm Evan Giddings. Don't go anywhere. And so now as we return here from the pitching change on the mound, another right-hander for Corvallis. Number 25, Chris Burkholder, the 5'11", 175-pound incoming senior at Dartmouth College. As a junior, he went 2-1 in 19 appearances for Dartmouth. 2-1 record, 2 saves, 37 strikeouts over 39 and a third innings. He's been a pretty dependable reliever out of the bullpen for the Knights so far as he fires a first pitch strike on the way to Zickafoos. 0-1. So runners on second and first here with 2 outs as Cody Hoff only able to get through 2/3 of an inning. 2 walks. Both of those runners on base are his. As Burkholder trying to strand that runner in scoring position, Zickafoos will lace one down the first base line but going to get foul. Right past the first base coach there, Michael Pena. And about 8 to 10 feet foul there for strike 2. So kind of a 3/4 release here from Burkholder. Definitely a different look for the Grey Wolves hitters. So far during the summer, has made a total of 10 appearances, 7 in West Coast League play. Making his 11th now here as he fires a fastball high there. Tried to change the eye level that time as Zickafoos didn't work. As that's the first ball of the at-bat. Zickafoos is 0 for 1. Struck out in the first inning, walked and scored in the third. As Burkholder has his sign, working from the stretch, now leans back and fires. Fastball, chased it upstairs, did Zickafoos, and he's down on strike. So Burkholder comes in and gets the job done to end the fourth. Strand a couple of Grey Wolf base runners as they get no runs, no hits, no errors, but 2 runners left on base as we will go to the 5th inning here at Osland Field. When we come back on Gresham Grey Wolves Live, it'll be 2-3-4, Alcantar, Atwood, and Farnes for the Knights, as the Grey Wolves still hold the lead here 4-3. And so now coming to the plate will be Emilio Alcantar out to face Aaron Schaup back out for his 5th inning of work. Here as we are set to begin this top of the 5th inning. First pitch on the way to Alcantar is a fastball low and outside here for ball 1. So in addition to the right fielder for Corvallis, it'll be Andy Atwood and Michael Farnes due up here in this inning as ball 2 misses a breaking ball again outside 2-0. Schaup up until the previous inning in the 4th had been coasting. Allowed an unearned run, I should say, back in the 1st as Alcantara flips this one over towards the middle, and a reaching play there made by Curtis Perrin. A running catch made there by the second baseman for Gresham takes a base hit away from Alcantara, and a great start there to this 5th inning for the Gresham defense. And so now Atwood will step to the plate as he is 1 for 2. The 3-hitter for the Knights tonight. Had a single, an RBI single back in the 1st. Ended up stealing 2nd. Flew out in the 3rd. Now we'll try and get things started. Schaup trying to record that 2nd out. Has already had 1, 2, 3 innings so far as he bends a breaking ball over the outside corner. Strike 1. Like I was saying, Schaup had a 1, 2, 3 in the 2nd. Essentially a 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd as he did allow a walk. Is now a flip job here in the center field. Andy Atwood going to have his 2nd base hit of the night. A single here with 1 out puts him aboard, and now Michael Farnes will step in. He walked Ogren, to begin that 3rd, but then went 1, 2, 3. However, ran into some trouble in the 4th. As with 1 out, Taylor took him deep. A solo shot out to left, and then back-to-back doubles placed another run on the board. 4-3 here in the top of the fifth. As now Shep will work from the stretch. Breaking ball too far outside that time to Farnes, and it's 1-0. 0-2 is 0 for 2 tonight is Farnes. The fly out and a strikeout. So far, just the only strikeout victim, or rather the second, is Novak, who ended up reaching first, did strike out as he laces this one down the right field line, but going to get foul into the dugout area of the Corvallis Knights. So the runner will take his lead from first. Farnes will step back in. Chuck comes set at the belt. Peeks over to first. High leg kick this time. Runner goes back but still fires on. And this fastball misses a bit low here, 2-1. And so Shout, so far tonight, has been able to keep the pitch count down. Has done a relatively good job of that so far here. Keeping most of these at-bats to under 5 pitches. Is now a hit-and-run attempt. The runner will get to second base as this is swung on and missed, but the ball pops out of the glove of Klenke. And Andy Atwood will record his second stolen base of the night. I think it was in the first inning. In fact, it was a hit-and-run attempt as well that Atwood was able to take advantage of. Now a total of 12 stolen bases on the season. Came into play with 10. Now 2 tonight. However, still trailing Alcantar, the second batter in this Corvallis lineup, as this fastball taken again outside. So 3-2 now here to Farnes. Alcantar's got 15 so far on this summer season. Now with a runner on second and one out. Shout with the payoff pitch. That's a breaking ball. Chopper over the left side. Zick has it over his third. A strong throw on to first base in time. And most importantly, that runner at second base in Atwood. So two outs here. 5-3 put out. The third assist of the evening for Zick over at the hot corner. And now Zach Taylor will step to the plate. Trying to bring that runner in from second. Shout attempting to keep him there. Get his offense back in the dugout. Put another 0 up on the board. Already has so far. And the first pitch. Breaking ball a little tighter that time. More of a slur or a slider. Either way, get around the outside edge. It's call 1. And so Atwood being held on by Perrin over at second base. Creeping. Now will step back to his position. Pitch on the way. Fastball upstairs. Up around the letters. 2-0. And Taylor had that solo shot back in the fourth inning. In a 1-0 count, was able to hop on a fastball by Shout. Kind of a give-me-over pitch. As these Knights have been taking a lot early in the count, but not Taylor in his last at-bat. Hopped all over that second pitch. The 2-0 now on the way. Breaking ball. Pitching backwards that time was Aaron Shout, able to get the strike, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. His other at-bat, Taylor flew out to center field. Caught by Ryan Smith as he's shading him a little bit towards right center field. Cardinelli has taken a couple steps back and left, and rightfully so, with the power displayed by Taylor in his last at-bat. And now ball 3, tossed right here by Shout. That was just his first home run of the season by Taylor, although still batting around .320 with that base knock. Now Shoup's got to be careful here in the 3-1. Fastball low, and kind of a pitch that I believe Shoup wanted him to chase, however does not pull the trigger and takes ball 4. So Taylor will move on to first base, and in hindsight, could essentially be a smart play there by Shoup to, instead of having to pitch to him in a hitter's count, just puts him aboard here. Now Roman Garcia, the designated hitter, will step in. He's also 1 for 2. Had a double back in the fourth as well as a run scored. As now with runners on second, we'll swing and tap this one off into the Grey Wolf dugout, or just right next to it, as it appeared Michael Clark that time, who's out of the dugout, will have to skip over and grab that one. Nonetheless, going to go for strike 1. Also, it appeared whatever action was beginning to brew down in that Knights bullpen has settled. And now this pitch on the way. Fastball laced into left center field. That's going to get down. Cardinelli will have to cut it off, but 1 run's going to score. They're going to wave Taylor all the way to third base. He'll get in, and a double on a slide. Roman Garcia, another extra base knock for the Knights, and they have tied this ball game. Atwood coming in to score. We have ourselves a whole new 4-4 ball game here at Osland Field. Off the bat of Roman Garcia, another double, 2 for 3 now on the night. And so offense beginning to come alive here in the middle innings for the Knights. Putting up 2 in the 4th, now 1 here in the 5th with 2 outs. And Schaub going to have to try and keep this at just that, with Nick Kale, who had a RBI double in his last at-bat, will come to the plate. First pitch on the way to him, a breaking ball just a bit low there, 1-0. As he's also 1 for 2, looking for his second hit. So Taylor now on third base, Garcia on second. Now ground ball over the left side. Zickafu's going to have it. He'll go on to first base in time to complete the putout, as that'll end the inning. So after scoring 1 on an RBI double, we'll head to the bottom of the 5th. The Grey Wolves coming up as we take a break here on Grey Wolves Live. All tied at 4 now. And so now the bottom of the order coming to the plate here in this bottom of the 5th for Gresham. Jeff Mitchell Jr. followed by Ben Klinke and Will Matheson. They will be all to the plate here as the Grey Wolves now find themselves all knotted up at 4 with the Corvallis Knights. As the right-hander Chris Burkholder back out of the mound for his second inning of work. Fires in a strike over the inside corner here to Mitchell Jr. 0-1. No official plate appearance, or rather at-bats this evening for Jeff, as he's 0 for 0 with 2 walks. Now takes strike 2. First one came in a full count. Second one in the 3rd inning came in a 9-pitch walk that he earned himself, and now almost tied up on a fastball, except that one apparently tipped off the knob, I guess. Mitchell Jr. thought it hit him off his elbow and is trying to appeal to the home plate umpire, Cunningham. However, the ball has been thrown around the bases and apparently has been ruled strike 3. And so frustrating right here for Mitchell Jr. Now their third base coach and head coach, Barkis, will come on and have a bit of a word with Cunningham. That ball got up and in, and I guess Mitchell Jr. was trying to argue that it clipped off of his forearm. However, Cunningham, either way, must have confused it for tipping the handle or the knob of the bat towards the bottom of his hands, and it tipped into the glove of the catcher, Kale. So either way, it was going to be a hit by pitch or a strikeout. Cunningham, in this case, according to Mitchell Jr., guessed wrong and is going to go down as a strikeout for the first out of the Grey Wolves' 5th. So since coming on, the right-hander Burkholder has struck out 2 Grey Wolves. Struck out Zickafoos to end the 4th, and now to begin the 5th here for Gresham. Strikes out Mitchell Jr. Ben Klinke, first pitch swinging, laces one, but right at the shortstop Atwood, he'll pick it up on a couple of hops and go to first base in time, quickly 2 away. So Burkholder coming on strong after the 2 previous relievers in Richmond and Hoff, unable to get the job done. Burkholder so far has been a nice option out of the bullpen. And at least on paper, that was his scouting report, making his 8th appearance, a 2.34 ERA in 15 and a third innings, as he fires in a strike over the inside part of the plate here to Matheson, 0-1. Has struck out 12, has only surrendered 5 walks, has allowed 14 hits, as he now cannot quite get the slider high enough to get the call, 1-1. Matheson, who's 0 for 1 this evening, a fly out and a walk, an RBI walk, of which we've seen quite a few here handed out tonight. 1-1 pitch on the way, fastball right there at the knees, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Has only allowed 1 earned run in his last 5 innings of work. 3 scoreless pitched in his last appearance back on July 15th, as he misses outside here to even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3 shutout innings against Cowlitz. Struck out 4. Only allowed 1 hit, as Matheson will tap this one off. A nice snag there by Doherty in the on-deck circle. A one-hop shot right back to him, and nonchalantly gloves it with the left hand. So nonetheless, count remains 2-2 in a 4-4 ball game here at Osland Field, as the lights have officially begun to come on. Sun has set, and the 2-2 now on the way. Breaking ball cannot quite catch the edge. Burkholder thought it was strike 3, but is going to have to throw at least one more. There's now a full count here to Matheson. And so far, every full count has gone in the favor of the Grey Wolves. I'm sure Burkholder trying to reverse that, but cannot, as he misses low with a fastball and another walk. I believe now double-digit free bases handed out here by Knights pitching. The 9th walk, 1 hit by pitch. Came back to Josh Adams in the 4th. Nonetheless, a walk here with 2 outs will bring Dylan Doherty to the plate, as the Grey Wolves will try and extend this inning. And Doherty himself will try and find a way aboard, as he is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts so far this evening. The 5'9" left-hander will step into the box. Him along with Perrin. Very difficult to distinguish between the two, apart from their numbers, as he takes strike 1 on the inside edge. Nearly the identical players. They bat back-to-back in the order. They both play up the middle. They both rock the high stirrups. And both left-handers using similar bats, as Doherty ropes this one into right center field. Going to get down for a base hit. They're going to send Matheson all the way to third. He'll have to hold up there, as the right fielder will play it in. But the Grey Wolves now have runners on the corners after a 2-out single here from Dylan Doherty. Puts Matheson at third base. Now an opportunity for his counterpart, Perrin, to possibly bring across another run and possibly give the Grey Wolves a lead. Doherty looked like he was sitting on that pitch from the get-go, a fastball that ran back from the inside part over the middle of the plate, and Doherty turned on it. Nice piece of hitting there as he collects his first base knock of the night. And now Perrin's turn. He'll come to the plate. We'll pick up his sign there from Barkis over at third base, as it appears now some action beginning to brew in the Grey Wolves bullpen. And Burkholder bends a curveball in for strike 1 here against Perrin, 0-1. 1 for 2 so far. A walk, although was caught stealing back in the 4th. Also a flyout and a single with a run scored all the way back in the 1st. As he looked like he was going to bite on that fastball, but instead chooses wisely to take it outside here, 1-1. So Burkholder now with a shake. Has his sign finally. And kicks and fires from the stretch. Too far inside as Perrin jumped out of the way of that one. Nearly another hit by pitch. Nonetheless, I'll be interested to see if Barkis puts anything on here with runners in the corners and 2 outs. He's got some options with the speedy Doherty over at first. Not going here, however, as Perrin will fight this one back off the screen to even up the count at 2-2. So essentially, nothing here at Osland Field. A 4-4 ball game, middle of the innings. Identical numbers all across the board. 4, 5, and 0. 4 runs, 5 hits, and 0 errors for both teams, as this breaking ball cannot quite catch the edge outside, and the count runs full. The trends have been kind here for Gresham so far tonight in this type of situation. And with 2 outs, Doherty will be off. So now 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. This one raced down the first base line, but snagged by the first baseman, Taylor. as Perrin stings one right on the button but results in an out. So the L3 has the Grey Wolves retired. They get one hit in that inning, no runs, no errors, and 2 runners left aboard. As that will conclude the 5th as we head to the 6th here at Osland Field on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. When we come back, it'll be Cody Hawkins, Seth Ogren, and Kyle Novak due up for the Corvallis Knights. All tied at 4-4 here as we go to the 6th. And so now as we enter the 6th here at Osland Field, Cody Hawkins will step to the plate against Aaron Schaup. And we mentioned the previous frame how there had been action beginning to go down there in the Grey Wolf bullpen. It is number 11, Carter Book, as Hawkins swings through a breaking ball here on the inside corner, 0-1. The left-hander from Linfield College. Had it on here on the broadcast plenty of times. This one is sprayed down the third base line, but foul. And quickly 0-2. And Book, a bit of a character, as we've seen him on multiple broadcasts along with myself and my other broadcaster, Fletcher Like. Another breaking ball swung on and missed on the outside corner. A nice pitch there from Schaup. And one out here to begin this 6th inning. His second strikeout of the evening, both swinging. And now Scott Ogren will step to the plate. But as for Book, he's been one of the more dependable relievers, especially in the middle innings for Barkus. And in fact, I've heard stirrings that he in fact could be the left-handed replacement for the starter on the mound right now, Aaron Schaup. So Ogren, who took ball 1, 1-0 on the way, fastball right there on the inside edge to even it up at 1-1. So that's something that could be quite interesting, as I do know that Book was a starter for Linfield College in this past season at the Division III level. Now possibly getting an opportunity to start here at a bit of a higher level, predominantly with Division I talent here in the West Coast League. So Ogren, who just took a breaking ball low for ball 2, now swings and chops this one over the left side. Zukafus has it. Another strong throw onto first base, as Connor Zukafus has been absolute money over there on the hot corner. 4 ground balls his way, all for assists, and not even a hint of an error coming his way. So now with 2 outs quickly, it'll be Kyle Novak that'll step in. The right-hander so far is 0 for 3, although had a run scored as after he reached on a drop third strike in the first inning, came around on an Andy Atwood single. Besides that, a couple of flyouts for the Corvallis center fielder. First pitch on the way to him is a fastball right there at the knees, 0-1, as Schaub looking to continue his stretch of quality starts. So far on pace for it, especially if he should complete this 6th inning. And now a fastball that jumps Novak out of the box there, 1-1. What I mean by quality starts, the official definition of that statistic is 6 innings, 3 earned runs. And so far, that is the stat line. If he should get through this inning here, is Aaron Schaup, as he misses too far outside here, 2 balls and a strike. And that would continue his streak. Fortunately, or hopefully, would be 6 quality starts in a row for the St. Martin's product. As the 2-1 now on the way. Changeup misses too far outside that time. Maybe tried to do a little too much, did Schaup. Now falls behind 3-1. So Emilio Alcantara waiting on deck. A lefty-on-lefty matchup awaiting Schaup should he not be able to retire Novak. has a 3-1 pitch on the way. Fastball popped out over the right side. Going to get out of play, out beyond the bullpen there of the Knights, as the count will run full. And so Nobach will readjust the batting gloves, prepare to step back in for this full count battle. And Schaub has been pretty good in full counts so far tonight. Has 1 for 3, I guess, in success to mistakes as he now misses here. So make that 2 for 4 as Nobach earns himself a full count walk, bringing Alcantar to the plate. And it was in a similar situation, not exactly in this exact fashion in the previous inning in the 5th. However, with 2 outs, the Knights were able to produce 1 run. Atwood stole second, and then an RBI double from Roman Garcia was able to bring him in. All of that happened with 2 outs, so Schaub does not want to repeat that right here, especially in a tie 4-4 ball game. First pitch swinging is Alcantara, grounder right to the second baseman Parent. He'll pick it up, fire on to first base in time to retire the side. So Schaub puts that walk behind him, is able to still get Alcantara and get out of this 6th inning. We'll head to the bottom of the frame. 3-4-5 coming up for the Grey Wolves in Cardinale, Adams, and Smith when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. I'm Evan Giddings, all tied 4-4. And so now Mark Cardinale will step to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th for the Gresham Grey Wolves. Chris Burkholder still out on the mound for the Corvallis Knights in his 3rd inning of work. As the first pitch he will fire will be a fastball low in the dirt there for ball 1. Cardinale 2 for 3 so far this evening. A couple of singles as well as a run scored. He'll be followed by the DH Josh Adams, as well as the center fielder Ryan Smith. So right through the heart of the order for the Grey Wolves, and arguably the most dangerous part of this lineup, as Cardinale takes a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. It's been very interesting to see kind of the growth of this offense as the 1-1 on the way is belted down the left field line, but too far foul, hooking out beyond the bullpen area here at Osland Field for strike 2. And to see kind of not only the lineup changes themselves, but where people have been cycled around, and eventually at this point, with especially the model of consistency now built by Gresham, as Cardinale takes this one too far outside here, 2-2. It is very interesting to look at the maturity of this lineup now in comparison to especially game 1 of this season. We saw a couple of guys now at least looking through the stat sheet as Cardinale will take strike 3 on the outside corner for the first out. Nice pitch on the outside edge by Burkholder. Looking down this set of statistics, at least from the batting order, I believe Matt Cairo, Drew Curtis, along with guys like Ryan Rodriguez, Michael Breen, Jack Bauer, Ryan Glazner, these guys were all in there at the beginning of this season. And not to say that they weren't pulling their weight, but something just wasn't quite clicking with that offense, as now Josh Adams will step to the plate, and he'll chop this one back off the screen here, 0-1. Something wasn't clicking with those guys, and in fact, Glazner, along with Mumper, who had 15 starts, Curtis, who's still on the team with 23, as well as Cairo, who has 17 appearances. These guys, something about it, they just weren't able to put together quality at-bats. And it seemed like in a lot of situations they would do a good job of setting the table as the 0-1 on the way misses low here, 1-1. They would do a good job of setting the table, but in terms of successive quality at-bats, the kinds that Barkis would talk about, and I'm not even talking about base hits. I'm talking about if there's a runner on base, maybe he worked himself aboard of the walk, able to sacrifice him over. That situation with 1 out and a runner on second base, or even a runner on third and less than 2 outs, the Gray Wolves were not able to get those type of runs in. And especially in a situation with the beginning of the season where they were still finding themselves as a pitching staff, the offense was not pulling its weight as the 1-2 pitch misses low here, a curveball in the dirt to even it up at 2-2. So at this point, I mean, they've made leaps and bounds, and I think if you'd ask Barkis about that as well, he'd tell you that he has so many more options now in his offense to play around with throughout the order and is able to give guys rest and really not have to worry about sacrificing any of that firepower. As Adams goes down for strike 3, swung on and missed a fastball on the outside edge. So back-to-back strikeouts here for Burkholder, a total of 4 now in his 2 1/3. Or rather, I should say 2 1/3. Excuse me, 2 innings full as he came in for the last out of the 4th inning. Now back-to-back strikeouts here to begin the 6th, and Ryan Smith will try and reverse that trend here coming to the plate. So just a great sign to see for this Gresham offense, who after, at least in this game, has stuttered a bit, but nonetheless has proven itself very potent, and in the way that the Knights were able to bust out for 3 runs there in the 4th and the 5th, you're fully confident as a Grey Wolf fan, as Ryan Smith will now take strike 2, fully confident that their offense is going to be able to come back at any point of this ball game and put up a possible 2-3-4 spot to give themselves the lead and possibly secure a victory. So now the 0-2 pitch on the way from Burkholder, fastball high. In fact, popped out of the glove that time of Kale for ball 1. As Smith is 0 for 1. Fielder's choice along with a walk and a run scored back in the 3rd. Apart from that, a couple of walks, one of which an RBI walk back in the 1st. So now the 1-2 on the way from Burkholder, just a bit low there. Looked to be good in terms of the location on the outside part of the plate, possibly just a bit below the knees. As we're all tied at 4. Smith trying to extend this inning. Breaking ball taken outside. Nice eye there from Ryan Smith here, and that'll run the count full. And also the patience of this offense, something we'll have to talk about in the later innings as well. As a payoff pitch on the way, fastball, doesn't matter, as Kale dropped the pitch, probably wasn't going to get the call regardless, but was outside as well, as Smith will take ball 4. Number 11 this evening for Gresham base hitters, as that'll bring Connor Zickafoos to the plate. So far, 0 for 2. There's a couple of strikeouts himself. In fact, he was the very first batter that Chris Burkholder faced in that 4th inning, ended up striking him out in a 1-2 count, so Zickafoos possibly looking for a little bit of revenge. Now with the runner on first pitch swinging, and he'll tap this one. Looks like I might have got a piece of the umpire that time, although he appears to be okay, is Brooke Cunningham. And it's 0-1. Zickafoos' primary contribution this evening has come on the defensive side of the ball. Has been very locked down over at the hot corner, playing a stellar third base. Has been kind of splitting time over there between him as well as Jack Johnson, although in more recent series, as a pickoff attempt not in time over to first by Burkholder, back in safely as Smith. In recent series, Zickafoos has sort of won the starting job, you could say. Jack Johnson getting 1 out of the 3 games, and Zickafoos getting 2 out of the 3, as now this pickoff attempt again over to first, not in time. Finally, time called here by Smith. And that's kind of how Barkis has been mixing up the playing time between the third base as well as catching position. It seemed like Cairo has kind of got the second of the third game of the series, and as well as Johnson, with Zickafoos and Clanky being the primary starters, as now he will lift this one into shallow left field. Incoming the left fielder, Hawken, and he will make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So a 2-out walk from Ryan Smith ends up being for none, as we'll go to the 7th here at Osland Field. Due up for the Knights, it'll be Andy Atwood, Michael Farnes, and Zach Taylor right through the heart of the order, as Aaron Schaup will come out for his 7th inning of work when we come back here on Gresham Grey Wolves Baseball Live. And so now it is Aaron Schaub back out for his 7th inning of work. He'll start it off against Andy Atwood as the first pitch from the windup is a fastball just below the knees there for ball 1. Atwood so far tonight, 2 for 3, a fly out as well. Also a couple of stolen bases and a run scored as he swings through a changeup, pulled the string right there, did Schaub on the outside part of the plate to even the count at 1-1. So all tied at 4. The Grey Wolves had the lead early, but the Knights were able to storm back in the 4th and the 5th inning as Schaub bends a curveball, but not far enough over the outside corner to get the strike. 2-1. Gresham picked up 2 runs in the 1st and the 3rd innings, at the time giving them a 4-1 lead. In fact, it was Corvallis that struck first, taking advantage of a drop third strike rule as Atwood will send this a fly ball into center field, caught there by Ryan Smith. In fact, barely had to move that time. Atwood frustrated himself, kind of flipped the bat as he knew he was out off the bat. Nonetheless, 1 out here in the 7th as Schaub trying to complete his 7th inning of work. Has not gone this far in a ball game too often this season, although did in his last start as well as his start back on the 27th. So has gone 7 innings or more, 3 out of the now 7 starts, which actually, I guess if you think about it, is a pretty good rate, or percentage-wise, I should say, as a first pitch on the way. Now here to Farnes is a fastball right through the heart of the plate, 0-1. And the rest of those starts, it's been 6 innings, 6 1/3, 6 innings again. And then apart from that 5 1/3 loss, hasn't gone less than 5 1/3, which not many pitchers can say they can do. This one, a drive into right center field, going over is Mitchell Jr. into the gap, making the catch. A nice play there by Mitchell Jr. It looked like it was going to be Smith that was going to try and hawk that one and essentially steal a fly ball. But Mitchell Jr. with a little bit of a smile over to his center fielder Smith as to say, I got that one. And a fly out apiece for both of them here to begin the 7th inning, 2 outs. So now Taylor will step to the plate with 2 down. Has himself a home run, the very first one of his summer season, and just the 5th of the Corvallis season as he takes a fastball outside 1-0. In addition to that long ball, a fly out and a walk, as Schaub will try and get through this 1-2-3 inning. Breaking ball on the outside corner. And that backdoor curveball for Schaub has been such a weapon so far tonight. Not necessarily a put-away pitch in the sense of the strikeout, but has gotten a lot of weak contact so far. As Clanky now sets up inside, backs that breaking ball up with a fastball over the inside edge, and it's 1-2. So Schaub settling into a bit of a groove here after that 5th inning. We'll see what he can do here in the 1-2. Change up in the dirt, blocked by Clanky, as the batter Taylor did not bite. And that'll even the count at 2-2. As we have ourselves a tied ball game here at Osland Field. The Knights do have the advantage 6-5 in the hit category, although all knotted up at 4. So Schaub trying to put him away right here. 2-2 on the way. Breaking ball. Slow chopper down the third base line. Schaub will let it go. Zickafoos has to pick it up, but not nearly in time. An infield single and a bit of luck going the Knights' way here with 2 outs in the 7th inning. As Zach Taylor collects his second base knock. And it's quite interesting how Taylor, you could definitely make the case that on the Corvallis side has the longest and now the shortest hit of the night. Had the home run back in the fourth and now about a 5-footer here in the seventh. Nonetheless, he's aboard now for Roman Garcia, who will come to the plate. And a quick pickoff attempt there, not in time though. As Schaup tried a quick pick there. Left-handers sort of step off the bag, not even stepping towards first, and just flip that ball over to the first base bag. As the first pitch on the way now here to Garcia. As a ball outside 1-0. Garcia has done some damage this evening, and apart from Taylor, or even in addition to Taylor, you could argue has been the most lethal hitter, is now this pickoff attempt. Had Taylor a bit confused over there at first, kind of dove back in half-heartedly, and a gross dive there as his teammates get a bit of a chuckle out of it. So nonetheless, back to Garcia as he's 2 for 3, 2 doubles, a run scored and an RBI, as he now takes a fastball right of the inside half of the plate here for strike one. That double continued the rally in the fourth, as it was directly after the Zach Taylor home run, and the double in the fifth came with 2 outs, so a very important base knock there at this point for the Knights. There's now the 1-1 on the way. Fastball too high. Fake back pick attempt there by Clanky. A pump fake, if you will. That will get Taylor hustling back to the bag at first. Count now 2 balls and a strike. So Boot continuing to warm up in that bullpen. Also looks like he's accompanied by another right-hander, although with a jacket on as he is not warming up. Now another quick pickoff attempt, not nearly in time. No tag there for Matheson over at first base. And it's been kind of interesting to see Matheson over there at first. Hasn't had too much playing time at first base this season, has been primarily over at third, although has been kept out of the order for a little bit as Garcia sends this one into right center field, giving Chase and Mitchell Jr. coming on, and he'll make the catch. A nice play there by Mitchell Jr. for the second time this inning, as that will conclude the top of the seventh, and we'll head to the bottom of the frame. Due up for the Grey Wolves is that man, Mitchell Jr., followed by Ben Clanky and Will Matheson when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. I'm Evan Giddings, and we're all knotted up at 4. Stay with us. And so now Jeff Mitchell Jr. will come to the plate here in the bottom of the seventh for the Grey Wolves, all tied at 4 between Gresham and the Corvallis Knights. Chris Burkholder back out on the bump for his 4th inning of work as Mitchell Jr. will send this one down the right field line foul. 0-1. Mitchell Jr. is 0 for 1, couple of walks, 6 strikeouts. Or rather, I should say a strikeout in the 5th inning, as Burkholder, now the 0-1 pitch on the way, too far inside. This one nearly clipped Mitchell Jr., and interesting that it should get that close because Mitchell Jr. in his last at-bat, in fact, thought he got hit by a pitch. That was to begin the bottom of the 5th inning. Thought he got hit by a pitch in an 0-2 count, and the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham, in fact, ruled that it hit off the handle of the bat. It tipped into the glove of the catcher, Kale, as this one misses outside 2-1. And Kale caught it, so officially went down as strike three. Strike three swinging, I should say, as Mitchell Jr. didn't even attempt to offer. Looked more like a defense swing, if anything else, as he fights this one off down the third base line to even the count at 2-2. So in addition to the 4-4 score, we got 7 hits for the Knights, 5 for the Grey Wolves. If they've been able to take advantage of 11 free bases handed out by Corvallis pitchers, as this one gets back to the backstop way outside there, almost in the left-handed batter's box, and coupled with the fact that Kale would set up on the inside part of the plate, not even close to it. So another full count here for the Grey Wolves. I feel like I've said this at least twice this inning. The 3-2 count as Burkholder will try to win it finally on the way. Fastball low and outside, ball 4, number 12, handed out. And the Grey Wolves at this point, you got to think, have not been as fortunate, or I should say that the Corvallis Knights have been a little lucky in the sense that the Grey Wolves haven't been able to capitalize too much on these free bases. I mentioned a total of 12. And looking so far through this game, just 5 hits. And you got to point also to those earlier innings at the time when it didn't seem like a big deal, as Klenke will step to the plate. They stranded the bases loaded in the first and the third, kind of at a point in the game where they didn't necessarily need to put the game away by any means, as this pickoff attempt is not in time over to Mitchell Jr. However, looking back on it, if they're able to scrape across a run or two, as now Klenke will show bunt, sacrifice bunt attempt. Burkholder will pick it up, go to second base in time. Klenke cannot execute the sacrifice bunt, bunts it right back to the pitcher, and an athletic play made there by Burkholder, able to record the out. 1-3 put out at second base as Klenke will officially reach on the fielder's choice and cannot get the job done. So 1 out here as he will essentially replace Mitchell Jr. at first, with Will Matheson coming to the plate. But back to my point, in addition to the bases loaded being stranded twice in the earlier innings as Matheson takes a breaking ball in for strike 1, they also stranded runners on second and first in the 4th and runners on third and first on the corners in the 5th. So a total of 10 now on the game as Matheson will take a pitch outside 1-1. Technically 11 if you add on the 6th, but through the first 5 innings of this ball game, 10 runners left on base. And in fact, I believe the game against the Victoria Harbor Cats, the middle game of that series, was when the Grey Wolves stranded a total of 13. The most so far this season, and are hoping to not come close to that number right here as Matheson takes a slider in for strike 2. So now Burkholder trying to continue his dominant way as the 1-2 pitch on the way. Ring him up on the outside corner. A good fastball, and Will Matheson knew it. Plays beautifully right at the knees as well. Nothing he could do about it, and that's the 5th strikeout so far this evening for Chris Burkholder, who has come on in middle relief. The 4th reliever so far, Grant Goodman, Cam Richmond, Cody Hoff, all could not get the job done for the Corvallis Knights, but Chris Burkholder, since coming in, has been nothing but lights out. Has given up 4, 1 hit. As now Doherty will step to the plate. He was that 1 hit back in the 5th inning, as now he takes a changeup off the edge outside ball 1. However, it does appear that Burkholder's innings could be coming to an end as Doherty takes a fastball over the inside part of the plate, 1-1. It does appear that Burkholder could be coming to an end as there is a right-hander up in the bullpen, although warming up not necessarily quickly. So Burkholder likely to at least get through this inning, maybe come out for the 8th, as a quick pickoff attempt is not in time. Tag applied there by Zach Taylor at first. Now it appears to be number 37, which according to the roster would mean Tanner Howell, the 6'4" right-hander, as Doherty will now take a fastball outside here, 2 balls and 1 strike. And the Gresham shortstop is 1 for 4. A single along with a couple of strikeouts as well as a ground out. as now he'll inside out this one over to the left side. Going to get out of play. Foul, though. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. All tied at Osland Field. We've seen a couple of late inning rallies here on the campus of Mount Hood Community College from the Grey Wolves so far, although not in quite some time, as they've been absolutely dominant to begin the second half as Doherty ropes this one deep into right field, giving chase as the right fielder, and it is over his head, off the wall, having trouble with it. Doherty rounding second. The runner's going to score easily from first base, and Doherty is in with a foot first slide, a triple, as the throw gets past him, but picked up by the pitcher, backing up the third baseman, Burkholder. And a smart play to be right there, but nonetheless, Doherty triples off the right field wall, scoring Ben Clanky all the way from first base, and the Grey Wolves now have the lead 5-4. We've seen Doherty be able to put some good wood on a couple of balls throughout this season, but I don't think I've ever seen a ball struck that well from Dylan Doherty, and I'm sure something that the Knights did not foresee coming into this ball game. The right fielder, Alcantara, was playing him pretty shallow, although I'm not sure even if he was playing him deeper, he would have had a chance to get that ball off the Gresham Police Officers Association sign out in right field. And now that'll bring Perrin to the plate, who takes a first pitch breaking ball right through the middle. 0-1. So Doherty, after looking very beaten and defeated up in his first 3 at-bats, has bounced back beautifully in his last 2 with a couple of base hits. Of course, the one he just collected is this one outside to even the count at 1-1. The last he collected right here, the biggest one of the night so far. As the Grey Wolves now have the lead 5-4 in the bottom of the 7th, as Perrin takes another breaking ball too far outside, 2-1. So maybe it was that second time through the order, these Gresham hitters getting now another look at Chris Burkholder and able to find a way to get through to him. Had seemed relatively baffled so far as Perrin now takes a fastball low and inside 3-1. But made some sort of adjustment, resulting in a run here in the 7th. Again, a 2-out triple. A huge hit there for Dylan Doherty. Perrin trying to follow suit as the 3-1 on the way. Breaking ball misses a bit low and outside. Burkholder not happy with that call, but nonetheless going to give up a base on balls here to Perrin. His second walk of the night. Now runners at the corners with 2 outs for Cardinale. Now in the way that Doherty has picked it up in his last 2 at-bats, Cardinale has faltered a little bit. Had 2 base hits in his first 2 at-bats, and since then, a fly out and a strikeout. His last one coming in a 2-2 count to Burkholder, so hopefully this second look at him will give him a better chance to find barrel. We'll also see if Perrin's able to make something happen over at first with 2 outs. On the way here, breaking ball over the inside part of the plate, strike 1. And also maybe Burkholder beginning to tire a little bit, pitching into his 4th inning. And that has been so far has been the longest outing for him this season, as he now tries a 53 pickoff move, fakes toward third, but does not make the throw to first base, as Perrin was not fooled. His longest outing came against Cowlitz in his last outing, as he now bends a breaking ball over the outside part of the plate, 0-2. 3 full innings here, or I should say in that game, is so far tonight. He has pitched 3 full. Should he make it through this inning, 3 1/3. As Cardinale now slaps this one over the right side. Good thing it got just beyond the chalk there on the first base side. As Cardinale with a bit of a second life here. So Doherty on third, Perrin on first. The left fielder for the Grey Wolves, Mark Cardinale, to the plate. As he's stuck in an 0-2 count. Going to have to shorten up here, protect with 2 strikes. Burkholder now comes set, fires a fastball up and outside. Here to Cardinale. And you got to think in, especially these type of situations, if you're Knights pitchers, you don't want to necessarily give in, but also with the amount of full counts and the amount of patience that the Grey Wolves hitters have displayed, as well as some frustrating at-bats now as Cardinale fouls this one off to the left out of play. And Frustrating, I don't mean in a negative sense. What I mean by frustrating, at least for Knights pitchers, is the fact that they're able to work not only the full counts, but even when they don't get to that point, they're able to see so many pitches. There's been very few first pitch swinging Grey Wolves that have grounded into contact and into play. As this one gets through and going to be botched by the second baseman. Scott Ogren cannot come up with it on the ground ball off the bat of Mark Cardinale, and that will allow Dylan Doherty to score. E4 there from the glove of Scott Ogren allows Mark Cardinale to reach base, allows Dylan Doherty to come in and add a key run right there. 6-4 now, Gresham Grey Wolves. So Perrin advances to second base. Cardinale now on first, and Josh Adams will step to the plate, but not before we have a pitching change here at Osland Field. It appears that number 37, Tanner Howell, will be coming in to pitch for the Corvallis Knights. As Burkholder's night is done, as we'll take a break here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. I'm Evan Giddings, as the Grey Wolves now hold a 6-4 lead. Don't go anywhere. And so the pitching change is finished. It'll be the 6'4", 200-pound right-hander from Dixie State. So actually teammates with Ryan Rodriguez, a former member of the Grey Wolves, who just finished up his summer with Gresham. Now back on to Dixie State, as the first batter he will face will be Josh Adams. Fires a fastball low, 1-0. So that concludes the evening for Chris Burkholder, who despite his stat line, actually I thought pitched pretty well. Ended up giving up 2 runs, only one of them earned, as a big swing and a miss there from Adams. Evens up the count at a ball and a strike. Ended up going 3 full, 2 hits, 2 runs, only one of them earned, walked 4, and I think that's really where he got into trouble. And fortunately for the Grey Wolves, they were able to take advantage here in this 7th inning. Although did strike out 5, as he was able to blow quite a few fastballs by these Grey Wolves hitters. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way. Another big swing and a miss there from Adams. Can't come up with anything right there, as all he touches is air. And now the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Adams looking to avoid the hat trick. Already has 2 strikeouts tonight. One of each fashion, swinging and looking. Also with a couple of free bases, much like every other Grey Wolf hitter. A hit by pitch and a base on balls, as he now takes a fastball low. Looked like he wanted to pull the trigger there, but an excellent job to hold up, as that'll even up the count 2-2. So a 6-4 ball game in favor of the Grey Wolves. They've taken advantage of an error by the second baseman, Scott Ogren, to capitalize and take the second insurance run of this inning, I guess, if you will. However, Dylan Doherty delivered a 2-out triple that brought in the go-ahead run here in the bottom of this frame. And now Adams takes a fastball just off the outside edge there. Run the count full. So here with 2 outs, all of this has come with 2 outs. Burkholder walked the leadoff batter, got a fielder's choice, a strikeout. So everything coming with 2 outs here in this inning, is now the runners will be off on the pitch. Perrin on second, Cardinale on first. As Big Adams will step in from the left side, waves the bat. Now the pitch. Big swing and a miss. Tied him up with the inside fastball. And Adams obviously frustrated with himself as he will leave another 2 runners aboard. A total of 11 now. Rather make that 12 for the Grey Wolves, but not before they strike for 2. Doherty with an RBI triple and an error allowing Klenke to come in as well. So we'll head to the 8th here at Osland Field. The bottom of the order due up for Corvallis. Nick Kill, Cody Hawkin, and Scott Ogren when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Baseball Live. And so now as we're set to begin this 8th inning here at Osland Field, a full nightfall has befallen the Mount Hood Community College campus, the home of the Saints, as Carter Book is on to try and get through this 8th inning here for the Grey Wolves. He will replace Aaron Schaup, who delivered a great 7 innings of quality baseball this evening, as Book first pitch on the way here to the leadoff hitter Nick Hill is a fastball high for ball 1. So Schaup ends up going 7 strong innings, allowing 4 runs, only 3 of them earned, continuing the quality start streak now at 6 here as Kale takes a strike over the inside corner 1-1. And now we'll give way to Book to try and get through this ballgame. The bullpen, at least the Book and Clark combination, as Clark continues to warm up in the bullpen, likely going to get the 9th for the Grey Wolves. It has been lethal. As now Book from the windup, that high leg kick, and the 2-1 on the way. Laced into right center field. Mitchell giving chase, and it is going to get down for a base hit. Splits the outfielders out there in right center field. Kale's going to turn second, and it looks like he'll have to hold up there as the incoming throw on the way. Doherty has it, will play it back in, but a leadoff double here from Kale has the Knights possibly in business here against Book to begin the 8th. And it seems like whenever the Grey Wolves appear as if they're going to try and pull away, the Knights get right back in the ball game. Back in the 4th inning, they were up 4-1, and the Knights responded with 2 runs of their own and then eventually tied it in the 5th. And at this point, the Grey Wolves up 2 runs as they plated 2 in the bottom of the 7th. And so now Cody Hawkin to the plate. He'll take ball 1, a breaking ball too far inside. And now with a runner on second, Book will have to work from the stretch. So far this season, Book has been the go-to man out of the bullpen in a variety of situations, whether it be long relief, a bridge between the 7th and the 8th. Is this one an opposite field ground ball? Gloved by Perrin, and he can't come up with it. It bounced up off the chest of Perrin. That's going to go down as an E4 as Cody Hawkin inside-outed that. A hard ground ball over to Perrin, but it seemed like he had a beat on it. And an Osland Field special results in an E4. Now runners at the corners and nobody out. So the tying run coming to the plate, as it appears we will likely have a pinch hitter. It appears that Brook Knight is going to make a change. And it looks like number 3, Taylor Travis, appears to be coming to the plate. A right-handed hitter. 5'11", 210 pounds from Chaminade College Prep. So, in fact, going into college. Or, in fact, according to the Corvallis Knights website, might, in fact, even be a senior in high school. So, nonetheless, or rather, I'm looking at the wrong batter here. A Mount Hood Community College sophomore. In fact, so Taylor Travis very familiar with the confines of this ballpark as he will step to the plate. First pitch on the way to him is a strike on the outside corner from Book. So a lefty-lefty matchup. They're going to substitute Scott Ogren, the right-handed second baseman, in for Taylor Travis, the left-hand second baseman, as he now takes strike 2. Appeared to try and pull over the sacrifice bunt, but ended up pulling back. And now Taylor Travis in a bit of a hole here, 0-2. Runners at the corners. Nobody out. Book, not necessarily a strikeout specialist, but could use one here. 0-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball fought back off at the screen. And it is 0-2. So Hawken on first. He reached on the error by the second baseman, Perrin. Kale reached on a leadoff double. As the Gray Wolves try not to let this game slip away. Certainly theirs to win as the 1-2 on the way. A breaking ball slider that time way too high. And now 1-2. So Ogren, who struggled a bit at the plate, did have himself a walk. But besides that, 0-2, and also somewhat of a pivotal error here in this ball game that could loom large. That's the 1-2 on the way. Fastball, ring him up on the outside corner. And Taylor Travis, a pinch hitter off the bench, cannot get the job done. Goes down looking on strikes. As Carter Book collects his first strikeout on the season. That is going to go number 21. So far, making his 15th appearance, has pitched in 32 innings. And that's nearly more than a couple of the starters for the Gray Wolves. The most he's gone has been 4 2/3. That came in the previous years against Victoria. Only needing to go 1 here tonight as he misses with a changeup high to the leadoff hitter, Kyle Nobach. Nobach has struggled as well this evening, 0-3. A walk and a run scored. That has made a couple of nice plays out in center field. Like I mentioned earlier in the game, was the MVP of the All-Star game yesterday up in Longview, Washington, as he pops this one up out of play, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Also appears like there's 2 relievers down there in the Corvallis bullpen, a right-hander, a left-hander throwing. Can't quite get the numbers from our perch here in the broadcast booth. As for the Gray Wolves, it's the right-hander Michael Clark, the closer for Gresham, beginning to get hot. Not quite sure if he'll have to come in during this inning, as Book has been able to work out some tougher jams before. Now breaking ball in the dirt. Klenke has it. Throw down to second base as the runner was off and not in time. Perrin will have to cut that throw off. As the runner on first, Hawken took off on the ball in dirt. A nice read there as he advances on what I believe will be a wild pitch. And it's officially a wild pitch as Nick Kale now stands on third along with Hawken on second. So that takes away the double play ball as the Gray Wolves will bring the corners in. The middle infield playing back, so they'll concede the run there. As Book will now step off and get a couple of signs from the second baseman, Perrin. Although interesting, as nobody's holding the runner on second base on. Kind of pinching up the middle as the infield of the Gray Wolves, as now this one's slapped off and over to the right side. So 1-2 here. Rather 2-2, excuse me, the count remains. On deck, it'll be Emilio Alcantar. He's 1-3. Rather 0-3. Did have a sacrifice bunt back in the first. Nonetheless, it'd be a great time for one of his none too many strikeouts. The most strikeouts he's ever had in an outing came back against Cowlitz. Struck out 5 4 2/3 as he just misses low here. An off-speed pitch that time could not get the call from Brett Cunningham, the home plate umpire. And that'll run the count full. Don't have to give in here in this situation with a runner, or I'd say after that runner moves up to second, now have a base open. So I'd expect to see a pitch right here that Nobach cannot really do much with, and now he'll call time. Take a quick breather. Gonna have to refocus up. Arguably the biggest pitch of the night for both teams coming up right here. The tying run in scoring position. Now the payoff pitch right here. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Carter Book with a huge strikeout right there as Nobach is down on strikes. Back-to-back Ks here for Carter Book, and an opportunity to get out of this inning unscathed with runners at second and third. And now Brooke Knight will go and have a chat with the home plate umpire, Brett Cunningham, and it appears that we will have another pinch hitter come to the plate. In the place of Andy Atwood, it appears Greg Syons will step in. So Syons, a 5'11", 195-pound right-handed batter from Grand Canyon. So teammates with a couple of Gray Wolves. The starting pitcher, Gabe Benavides, along with the former Gray Wolf, ended up going back home, Mark Mumper. As now Clank will go and have a quick chat with his battery mate, Book. In the meantime, we'll recap a bit of this ball game here. 6-4. A run scored in the top of the first for the Knights. 2 followed by in the bottom of the first from the Gray Wolves. They made it 2-1. They put up 2 more in the third. As it appears now, Justin Barkas will come out, and it appears to be a pitching change as Book's night is done. It's going to be Michael Clark coming on to try and get the 4-out save here in the top of the 8th inning here at Osland Field, as we'll take a quick break here on Gresham Gray Wolves Baseball Live. I'm Evan Giddings. Don't go anywhere. And now finish with the pitching change here as Michael Clark is on with 2 outs. Runners on second and third, trying to get out of this top of the 8th inning. It'll be Michael Clark, the closer, on to try and complete a 4-out save here for the Gray Wolves, making his 10th appearance, giving way from Carter Book. As Clark so far with 3 saves on the season. First batter he will face will be the pinch hitter Greg Syons, and fires a fastball over the inside edge, strike 1. And so as Alcantar's night is done, he was 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt, as well as a couple of ground outs and a flyout. As Syons, so far this season, hasn't seen much action as he now chops this one right to the pitcher, Clark. He'll pick it up on the short hop, go to first base in time, and gets out of it. Carter Book, after giving up a leadoff double and then an error from the second baseman, Perrin, Book strikes out 2. Clark comes in, gets the final out of the inning, and some great teamwork there from the Book and Carter duo to complete this 8th inning for the Gray Wolves. So we'll head to the bottom half of this frame with Ryan Smith, Zikafus, as well as Mitchell Jr. coming to the plate, hoping to extend on this 2-run lead. As we enter the bottom of the 8th, the Gray Wolves have the lead, 6-4. And so now as Ryan Smith will step into the box to face the right-hander Tanner Howell. Rocking the dirty mids out there for the Corvallis Knights. He'll try and get through this bottom of the 8th. Ryan Smith will try and lead things off as he's first pitch swinging. Pops this one up into shallow center field. Out as the shortstop. It's not Andy Atwood. We'll try and get that number for you as quickly as possible, as that appears to be the first out of the inning. He'll make the catch, and there's one down here for Ryan Smith.
Third baseman, number 28, Connor Zickafoos.
And so it appears to be number 11 out there for the Corvallis Knights over at shortstop. As according to the roster here, so Andy Atwood still is in, as it appeared that he was brought out for a pinch hitter as the first pitch on the way to Connor Zickafoos is in for ball 1. It looks like Cyan's number 4. He'll move over to second base. And we'll see who the new outfielder is in right field. So now Zickafoos in a 3-0 count. As Howell working fast, now fires again. Fastball cannot get the call. Zickafoos finds himself aboard on a 4-pitch walk. Has already had one of those this evening. Last time in the 3rd inning, ended up coming around to score a run, and so hopefully a sign of things to come here for Gresham as they're up 6-4. Hoping to add an insurance run here in this inning as Mitchell Jr. will now step to the plate. He's got 3 walks himself, as he's just 0 for 1, looking for his first base hit. Now the first pitch on the way to the Gresham right fielders, a strike on the outside edge. And it also appeared in that last inning, not sure if it was for defensive purposes or not, but Drew Curtis entered over at first base for Will Matheson. As now the second pitch in for a strike, and Mitchell Jr. is quickly down 0-2. And so the outfield going to make their 2-strike shift out towards right center field. The center fielder, Nobach, making it very exaggerated, is now a balk called here on the pitcher for the Knights, Tanner Howell. So the mistakes compounding here and really have been so throughout the night. We've talked about the 12 free bases, and now a balk here for Tanner Howell, allowing Zickafoos to move into scoring position. And so now having to work with the runner on second, a big breaking ball too far outside there. And the count is still 1-2 here to Mitchell Jr. It appeared that the right fielder is going to have a play on that foul ball. Appears to be number 3 out there in right, so that is Taylor Travis replacing Emilio Alcantar in right field. Now the 1-2 on the way, swung on and missed. Chased a breaking ball low in the dirt, picked right there by Nick Cale for the second out of this inning as Mitchell Jr. is down on strikes.
The catcher, number 22, Ben Klinke.
And so now Ben Klinke will come to the plate as he's looking for his first base hit as well. 0 for 3, fielder's choice as well as a run scored, and an RBI walk back in the 3rd. Now the first pitch on the way to him is a fastball taken on the outside corner for strike 1. As Howell, I believe, just going to be a sophomore at Dixie State, or just finished up his sophomore season at Dixie State. And now kicks and fires here. The 0-1 swung on and missed. A big cut right there by Ben Klinke, and it's 0-2. So far in this season, making his 14th appearance, has gone 12 1/3. Has a 5.10 ERA. Now we'll try and finish Klinke off here as he takes the ball low. Looks like an off-speed pitch that time for ball 1. As Klinke looking to try and find a way to bring home this insurance run, make it a 3-run ball game. Although Michael Clark has been dominant out of the bullpen late as the closer, want to give him as much of a cushion as possible as Klinke will now choke up on the bat. Two-strike pitch on the way in the dirt, gets away off to the right. Nick Kale can't keep it in front of him as Sikafus takes a wide turn at third base, but will now head back to the bag as a wild pitch puts him 90 feet away from scoring here in this 8th inning. So close to home plate, and now Ben Klinke, all he needs to do is find a way to get this ball far enough away from a defender, allowing him to reach first base to bring in that 7th run. Now, Tanner Howell at Dixie State in 2016 had 7 appearances with an 8.53 ERA. As he now misses too far outside, the count will run full. He only pitched 6 1/3 innings, although had a much better 2015 campaign as he went 12 appearances, had 6 starts, 3-2 record, 24 strikeouts in 38 innings. As he now drops a breaking ball right through the heart of the plate, fooled Ben Klinke and froze him where he stood. Back-to-back strikeouts, strands a runner on third as it'll be up to Michael Clark to try and get the job done. As we head to the 9th here at Austin Field, the Gresham Grey Wolves will face Andy Atwood, Michael Farnes, and Zach Taylor when we return here on Gresham Grey Wolves Live. And so Andy Atwood will lead things off against the right-handed closer for Gresham, Michael Clark, out to try and finish things off. As he came in for the last out of the top of the 8th inning, got a 1-3 put out to leave runners on second and third as he fires a first pitch strike here to Atwood, 0-1. Came in with runners on second and third in the form of Kalen Hawken. He got the job done, forcing weak contact against pinch hitter Greg Syons as he now misses low here, 1-1. Michael Clark, a 6-foot, 170-pound sophomore at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. As the Mustang will fire a fastball on the inside corner. Strike 2. Nicely placed on the corner, and in fact has not allowed a run in his last 3 outings. Twice against Victoria. I believe he in fact should have got a save in that last one, so should have a total of 4 saves as he now buries a curveball low in the dirt. Swung on and missed by Atwood. He thought that ball touched the dirt as he headed towards first, but instead will have to head towards the dugout as Michael Clark collects his first strikeout of the evening, 15th on the season. In fact, Clark, since his back-to-back outings on July 7th and 4th against Kelowna and Walla Walla, where he gave up 2 earned runs in each of those, has been absolutely stellar. Faced the minimum on July 10th, faced just 1 batter over the minimum on July 12th as he misses upstairs here with a fastball, ball 1. And on July 14th, did have a bit of a scare. Relinquished 2 walks, gave up 1 run, but was unearned. As he now buries an off-speed pitch just below the knees there for ball 2. So Clark did have kind of his early struggles, bit of a wrinkle, if you will, but was able to fight through it and has now really come into his own as the 2-0 pitch graces the outside edge here for strike 1. Farnes, so far tonight, 0 for 4. Couple of flyouts, a ground out, and a strikeout. Clark looking to him to hang that over as he now misses outside 3-1. And the right-hander from Rohnert Park, California certainly has had a bit of trouble with command throughout this season. Has only had 3 of his 9 outings where he hasn't walked anyone, as this one is flipped off to the right, out of play, foul, going to run the count full. But nonetheless has done a good job of not letting that get to him. He's walked a total of 9, at least coming into play, through 15 1/3. Probably the reason for his ERA being just above 4 is the payoff pitch now on the way. Fastball cannot quite get the call. I thought Clanky might have got the frame there on the inside edge, but nonetheless called ball 4 as Michael Farnes will take his base. And Taylor flew out back in the first, homered in the 4th out to left, walked in the 5th, and singled in the 7th as he's 2 for 3 so far tonight. Him along with the batter on deck, Roman Garcia, have done the majority of the damage so far for Corvallis. As the first pitch on the way to him is a fastball that can't quite get the call over the outside part of the plate, 1-0. So 1 out with a runner on first. And Taylor, certainly a likely candidate for a double play ball, doesn't necessarily run well. As Clark, who exclusively works from the stretch, now fires. Fastball popped up over to the right. Going to get out onto 17th Street here. Out of play for strike 1. So Taylor, the first baseman, along with Garcia, the designated hitter, 2 power positions, have really done the damage so far for the Knights. And now the pitch on the way. Ground ball, going to get through the left side into left field. Too far for Doherty, who had his glove outstretched, but nonetheless a base knock here for Taylor. And he represents the tying run now aboard first base as Farn moves up to second. So not to say that Taylor hasn't made things interesting before, but is going to have to fight some adversity here, something the Grey Wolves as a team have done all season. And in fact, when I had Michael Taylor up here in the booth in the second game against Victoria, I believe it was the second game. In fact, it was up here in the second inning, came up here in the booth, and that was something that he talked about, kind of developing that team mentality on the road, especially in a lot of those games, not having the home field advantage, not getting those last at-bats, maybe a sense of urgency for that ball club, and I think that's something that not only he alluded to, but that he brings onto the mound with him each and every time he goes out there. Never really phased, never falters. As the first pitch now on the way, misses low here, ball 1. And doesn't let it get to him, along with the rest of this pitching staff, and especially even the offense late in games. They have no problem bouncing back from whether it be a mistake that they've made in the field or a poor at-bat. Have no problem getting back up on the fence and cheering their teammate, as this one is popped up over to the right. Gonna get out of play, foul off the bat of Garcia. And the count is even at a ball and a strike. So with that base knock off the bat of Taylor, total of 9 now for Corvallis. They have out-hit the Grey Wolves, but Gresham currently holds the lead 6-4. 1 error apiece, both of which leading to unearned runs. Although I believe just 1 earned run for Corvallis, as well as one unearned run, I should say, for Gresham. There's now the 1-1 pitch on the way from Clark. Fastball fisted off the hands and back off the screen here. Ahead in the count is Clark now, 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was in this count that Andy Atwood went down swinging to begin this inning. And Clark would like nothing less than a similar result. Trying to pick up his 5th save of the season since coming on just June 19th, making his 10th appearance. So what would be 5 saves in 5 opportunities in essentially half of his appearances. So now he has his sign. 1-2 on the way. Fastball lifted into right field, shallow. Incoming Mitchell Jr. He'll be under it. Not far enough, however, to tag the runner at second base, as Farnes will have to head back and pull up there. So Roman Garcia, the most dangerous hitter so far in this game with a pair of doubles and an RBI and a run scored, is retired. Good job there from Clark burying that fastball on the inside part of the plate as he was able to not allow Garcia to get his hands extended. And now with 2 outs, Nick Kale representing the last hope here for the Corvallis Knights. Clark comes, sets at the belt. First pitch on the way. Fastball popped up over the right, out of play, foul. Clark looked like he might have reached back for a little extra that time. Some two-seam action on every single one of his fastballs coming in towards right-handers. And probably the reason why the majority of this season he's been able to avoid a lot of these barrels. So now the second pitch of the at-bat on the way. Fastball this time runs a bit high. Clark looked like he might have slipped off the mound that time as the pitch got away from him to even the count at a ball and a strike. Now Nick Kale himself has a pair of doubles, one of which came for an RBI. So this 5, 6, 7 part of the order, I'd be remiss if not to mention Kale as he swings through a fastball in the inside corner, tied him up right there, did Taylor. I'd be remiss if not to mention Kale in his contribution. Him along with Taylor and Garcia have a total of 2 runs scored between all 3 of them, as well as 3 RBIs, 6 base hits total, 4 of them being extra base hits. They have done nearly all of the damage. In addition, those 2 runs have drove in the other run that was earned, and of course the unearned run coming back in the first. And so now Clark, with an opportunity to put the game away, will take a quick breather as he steps off the mound. Just 1 strike away from getting the 8th victory here in the second half for the Gresham Grey Wolves. And so now he has his sign. Doesn't even worry about the runner on second. As this one, a fastball in the inside corner, popped up in a shallow left field. Incoming Cardinelli, and it's going to be Ryan Smith coming out of nowhere, making a diving play, and that's the ball game. Ryan Smith covering so much ground out there in center field all night long, able to make the final out of the ball game to retire the Corvallis Knights as the Grey Wolves pick up the first game of this 3-game series against the Corvallis Knights. So the Grey Wolves move on to 8-2 here to begin the second half. The Corvallis Knights drop to 4-6 as they have got some work to do here against the new-look Grey Wolves, as we'll quickly recap this game for you and get you out of here. It started off in the first when in the top of the, the beginning of the ball game, Kyle Nobach reached after a swing and a miss, got down to first base on a dropped third strike. Then after he got to second base on a sacrifice bunt by Emilio Alcantar, Andy Atwood singled through the left side to bring him in for the first run of the ball game. However, it did not take much time for the Grey Wolves to respond, as Curtis Perrin and Mark Cardinelli, with 1 out, had back-to-back singles, and then Josh Adams and Ryan Smith had back-to-back walks. That brought in a run in the form of Perrin, before Jeff Mitchell Jr. walked to bring in the second run of that inning. And at that point, it was 2-1. Skip to the third, where the Grey Wolves got things going with 2 outs. Ryan Smith with a runner on first, rather I should say Zicafus with a runner on first, walked, followed by 3 more consecutive walks. So a total of 4 in that inning brought in Smith and Zicafus. Clanky and Matheson were tagged with RBIs, and that gave them a 4-1 lead. However, the Knights were not done. In the top of the 4th inning, Zach Taylor got things going with a solo shot out to left field, and followed by back-to-back doubles brought in the second run there to draw within 1. Then they ended up tying the game in the top of the 5th, as Andy Atwood with 1 out hit a single, stole second, and then with 2 outs, Roman Garcia laced a double into right center field to bring him in to tie it all at 4. And then in the 7th inning, it was the Grey Wolves able to take advantage of a key error by the second baseman, Scott Ogren. After a fielder's choice from Ben Clakey put him on first, an RBI triple with 2 outs from Dylan Doherty brought in 1 run, and then off the bat of Mark Cardinelli, a ground ball that Ogren let slip under his mitt, ended up bringing in Clanky from third base. 6-4, that was the score, and the result of this ball game, as Michael Clark as well as Ben Clanky ended up coming in to shut down the 8th and the 9th inning. Michael Clark collects his 4th save of the season. Aaron Schelt, I believe, is in the line to get the win. That's just his 2nd on the season, and well-deserved, as I believe that is also his last start for the Gresham Grey Wolves, being shut down for innings purposes by his University of St. Martin's. However, a big congratulations to him, ending it on a high note and getting his team the victory. He went 7 strong, allowed 3 earned runs for a quality start, also had 2 strikeouts, and did a great job all night of leaving runners on base. And so that will conclude it here on the Gresham Grey Wolves postgame report. I'm Evan Giddings as your Gresham Gray Wolves win it 6-4 here at Osland Field in the first game of a 3-game series over the Corvallis Knights. We'll get right back to you here tomorrow night, same time, 7:05 at Osland Field over here at Mount Hood Community College in Gresham, Oregon. Hope you'll join us. In the meantime, hope you have a great night. I'm Evan Giddings. Thanks for tuning in.